Welcome back, everybody, to the From the Bench podcast. I'm Eric. We have my co-host Trevor. Say hi, Trevor.
What's going on, everybody? What's going
and
on,
we also
everybody?
are joined by a guest for our mock draft episode, Cody Bowman. So should be pretty good. What we're gonna do for this, we thought everyone does their mock drafts. We're not gonna release our own mock drafts, but we're gonna just. What's going to happen is Trevor's going to have the first overall pick. Cody will have the second. I'll have the third, and then we'll just keep that order all the way down to 32. So should be pretty good. So to start, I guess, are we getting together, Trevor, on Thursday for online, obviously, for a Zoom meeting to watch the draft?
For the draft?
Yeah.
We can for sure. I know me and you've talked about it. So
I think that's going to
be our way to watch the draft and keep the tradition going. Really.
Yeah, I think that's the norm now for everybody. I've heard a couple people planning on doing that, so I think that'd be a good idea. We'll invite Cody.
Cocktails. I'm just gonna put that out there and get some snacks.
I'll join.
Yeah,
we never did it last year, but we've done a lot of years.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So it's Trevor, we're recording this in the day, as you can kind of see, with everything's a little brighter in Trevor's house and my house. So Trevor, we did it early enough, so Trevor couldn't get into too much sauce here.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just hydrating and drinking kickstarts.
Yeah, exactly. So there's not really much else to talk about other than for this week. It's obviously hasn't been any trades yet. Nothing like that's happened. Not really
Nothing we know of.
No, not really any big signings. It's kind of that weird period. The only thing that's happened so far is the Browns released their new jerseys, which are kind of just like a throwback to their old jerseys.
Oh my God! Speaking of that, did you see New England released new jerseys today? I was just like, barf.
No, I didn't see them.
Well, I don't.
Wouldn't matter what New England put out there, I'd feel that way.
It almost looks. I know, but I don't want them to get too corny with the jerseys. I don't want them to get looking like college. College is college, and you know what I mean. So that's all I mean by that.
The Chargers got a new one coming out tomorrow. Then
it's all money.
Oh, it's
all
exactly.
There's a reason they only allow them to do it every so often.
Yeah, because they'd be doing it all the time, right? I know there was a bunch of guys for the Chargers. Obviously, Joey Bosa and Melvin Gordon were two big guys on the team. Both of them came out last year and changed their numbers. Melvin Gordon went from 28 to 25, and Joey Bosa went from 99 to 97.
What? Really?
Yeah. So everyone's and they actually honored a lot of them and said look, if you bought an actual Chargers jersey,
I see, sure.
Yeah, all whatever. If you want to switch it out, I'll switch it out type of thing, and which is pretty.
Nylander did the same thing.
Yeah. So, which is, like I said,
when he went to 88,
it's kind of a cool little thing. But for the teams, they're I don't care. We're gonna get that money one way or another. So, but yeah, like I said, that's try to get all the jerseys. I collect a lot of jerseys. I don't. It is what it is. It's fun little pastime. So, I guess that's where we are. So we're in Jersey talk right now. But yeah, like I said, the main point of this episode.
Trey Mason.
Yeah, the Trey Mason, Auburn.
Yeah, I
That's
forgot about that. That's
jersey.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, our main thing this week is going to be the mock draft. So, without further ado, Trevor Ward, you are on the clock with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Give me the franchise quarterback here. You know what? I'm going to go off the board here. No, I'm just kidding. So give me Joe Burrows, LSU quarterback.
You almost had every Bengals fan.
I think you guys can all agree, though. We'll go – if you have the chance to get a guy who can play 10, 15 years for you and win majority of games, you got to do it, I think, personally.
Yeah.
So he's a lot different than Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton was good in his own right, but – he's a little more than a game manager. I hate to put that on Dalton, but, it is what it is.
Dalton was who he was, right? Dalton was never a top 10 pick or anything like that, right?
He wasn't going to lose you.
No, but he's
sure.
he's came in and it's been, successful. He's had some good seasons. He kind of falls into that, Ryan Tannehill mold where, they were always
better
good.
than him.
Yeah, but they were always good, but not great. And obviously, Tannehill had some injury issues. But Tannehill in a couple of those seasons, especially I think before he started getting hurt, he was putting up some big numbers with the Dolphins. So
he got better as
He had a
he
good
gets older
depot.
too. He didn't start as much as the other guys in college and stuff, right? He was late at that.
He's a receiver.
He was a receiver.
Exactly.
Does a lot of reps.
He was a receiver
So-
for 3 years before he got
That's
drafted.
tough.
So, no, I think that's
So-
Joe Burrows. I think that's kind of your consensus pick. I think for everybody, I think if the Bengals don't take him, and I know people talk about people, does someone like the Dolphins trade up? Also, we're not going to do trades in this because that's just too much. But the Dolphins have a lot of assets they could trade up, but I don't think the Bengals would, where that's a need for them. I think if they traded and then they took somebody else and they didn't get the quarterback of the future, I think the Bengals fans would riot and they would probably try to burn the place down. So
it's hard to say. They're pretty faithful. They're the Bengal fans, but
yeah.
Anyways, I think
It has
Joe
to be.
Burrows would be the guy. He's just too good to pass up on. I think they'd be dumb too. Be a mistake. So why not swing the bat on not a for sure thing, but it looks like a for sure thing.
He's only got that 1 year in college really that he's put up big numbers. 2 years at LSU, but last year he didn't put up big numbers. This year, obviously, he we talked about it, right?
Touchdowns.
60 touchdowns, 5,700
crazy.
yards, whatever it was. It's wild. So yeah, but we'll move on from the Bengals, taking, I guess, like I said, pretty much the guy that everyone thinks. And now it is Cody Bowman with the Washington Redskins at number 2.
We'll take the consensus pick. Young. They're a team I think could surprise some people. I know they don't necessarily need a quarterback after drafting one first round last year, but they're a funny organization. If they could draft a front office in the first round, that's what they should draft.
Or an owner.
Ron Rivera, that's not his guy.
No.
Yeah, Ron Rivera, that's the owner's quarterback in Haskins. I wasn't a fan of Haskins. He's a 1-year starter. Kind of reminded me of Adams coming out of Oregon.
Yeah.
When he transferred there for his last year. You don't quite know what you got. Not saying he can't do it, but Young, he's good. He's a good football player. There's no doubt there. But I wouldn't be surprised if they went off the board and took somebody like Tua or Herbert. I like Herbert, but I wouldn't take him there. But we're sitting here and they're sitting there.
And you're an Oregon fan, so what does that tell you?
Yeah, I'm a big Oregon fan, and I think he did a lot for not having the supporting cast a lot of the big quarterbacks got. And he was in the wrong system. He's not an Oregon Ducks quarterback. Not traditionally.
No.
Exactly.
He's almost too professionally molded, I guess, compared to, guys like Adams or Mariota, guys that a little bit more play action.
Yeah.
So that's Young. I see going there. I mean, I think the top 3 picks without a trade are pretty well what everybody else is seeing for the most part.
Yeah, and it just makes sense, right? Like Chase Young, he comes out, I think he's the highest, for some places like PFF and other places, he's the highest graded, edge rusher ever. Because he, when he is, pass rushing, he is dominant. At the same time, he, like I said, we kind of highlighted it when we did our player prospect highlights, but the only thing I wish I could see
doesn't go all the time.
Yeah, exactly, just a little more effort all the time. Other than that, the guy's obviously elite, and if the right coach, which is Ron Rivera, defensive coach, if he can kind of push that on him, well, we can see something pretty exciting over there. And I think a lot of people say, well, they get Ryan Kerrigan, blah blah, they get this guy. Well, Ryan Kerrigan's 30 something out of Purdue, and he's also on the last year of
football played.
Yeah, and he's last year of his contract, right? So, are you going to pay that guy again as he's going to start, typically slowing down, or you're going to take, a generational pass rusher, right? So yeah, we'll move on again. Unless do you guys have anything else to add to that, or?
No, that's good.
The only thing I'd say, what Trevor said with the quarterback going back a little bit to Burrows, you get that 10 to 15 year starter. That's a funny thing. Only other than a quarterback, a lot of these guys, you're lucky to get a second contract out of them.
Yeah.
It's difficult when you're drafting, you got a 5-year window at best with some of these guys, and that's all you get. Look at Jack Conklin going to the Browns.
Well, you look at a lot of guys.
Success, individual success doesn't matter.
Yeah. You look at a lot of guys, even the last couple of years, right? Big guys, Melvin Gordon, You know, you're talking about Treadwell. You're talking about, go through the list of all these guys that, and obviously Melvin Gordon's a lot better than Laquan Treadwell and what he's been able to do. But, it's a lot of these guys don't get that second contract, right? Even guys like Todd Gurley, they get traded. Some guys stay for the longevity. Some guys, they just say like, look, I'm out of here.
There's only so much money, right? You can only pay so many guys. That's a problem too. That's why some of these guys.
Well, injuries catch up on guys. Some guys just don't translate well in certain systems. Like a lot of this game, and we can all sit back and say whatever, but a lot of these guys, have a rough go. Like, you look at somebody, and obviously he hasn't produced, and I really like him, and we're kind of getting off topic, but Josh Rosen, had high hopes. But then now in the last 2 years, but now in the last 2 years, he's literally played in the two worst possible scenarios you could play in. He played with the Arizona Cardinals, which had a terrible team that year. No O-line, everything else. We've all talked about it. And then, then he goes to the Dolphins, who are literally trading away everybody.
Everybody.
Other than like Fitzmagic.
You know who reminds you of?
Who?
Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Look at Alex Smith's first bunch of years. Alex Smith's good quarterback. Or was it?
Alex Smith's thing too was like, I think it was like a lot of it. They were like, look, the guys had 4 different head coaches and offensive coordinators and everything else in the first 4 years. Like it was, he had Singletary, he had this guy. There were so many guys. It was like, what do you do? But yeah, they said, do you find the right guy? Like I said, it's if Tom Brady goes to a certain place, does he just sit behind and never become what he is, right? Probably.
Oh, that's right.
If he doesn't get the chance, there's lots of guys like that. So, just got to find the right place, the right system, everything else.
Just waiting for Miami to release him.
Yeah, you and me both. So I'm going to go with number 3 overall. It's the Detroit Lions, and they're going to go and grab Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback out of Ohio State. I think this is the other kind of consensus pick. It's a lot of people say, well, they got rid of Slay. Why would they do that? Well, they get, Okudah for less money. Okudah plays
the
more.
Price.
He plays
more than that.
Well, I don't know if it'd be not quite half the price, but it's quite a bit less. You get him, to build on him. He also fits their system better. He's more of a man coverage guy rather than a zone coverage. And obviously for some reason Slay and Okudah or Slay and Matt Patricia didn't get along. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So I think it's the other kind of consensus pick. The Lions are another tire fire of an organization. You feel bad for them, but wow. Matthew Stafford, they're not for him. You had Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. That's the only 2 guys that you've had that are notable guys in the last 15 years.
You just talked about a notable guy. What about Slay? What?
Well, yeah, Slay, but like
no, they've had lots of good football players, but Patricia can't go in there.
Too. These are just guys off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
So
no, that makes sense. So yeah, like I said, we'll go Okudah number 3 to the Lions at Ohio State. Like I said, 6'1". He's fast. He's rangy. He
tackles great.
He does a lot. Yeah, he does a lot of the things right. So, so now we're gonna move on to Trevor again.
Giants.
He's picking the Giants. Now, see, Trevor just might go take somebody from like the 7th round here, as an angry Patriots fan for those two Super Bowl losses. But
unbelievable.
Yeah, out of Appalachian State, punter Jeff Smith.
They don't even deserve the punter. Okay. I'm gonna go with a tackle here for them. There's been a little bit of smoke saying they're looking at Herbert, but I think that's just smoke and just talk. You know how that goes right before the draft here. I think to go with I don't know if I already said this, but Alabama's left tackle, is it Wilkes Jr. or Williams Jr.?
Jedrick Wills Jr.
Okay, Wills. Like he does everything really pretty well. So, and they say that he can get better. So why not? He's 6'4", 312 pounds. I really like him. He moves really well. He's really good in the run game and pass game. And I think if you're the Giants, you need help in both areas, and you got one of the best running backs in the league. So, I think it's an easy pick.
Yeah, and I think when we highlighted him, we kind of even brought it up that like he plays right side, which right now that works because obviously they signed.
Well, they still got Nate Soldier there.
They got New England. They got the old New England tackle there sitting at left. So plug this guy in at right. Leave him there. You don't have to worry about anything, and maybe you groom him to become a left tackle in the future, right? Like he
absolutely
once Solder's contract.
You're only one injury.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You're only one injury away from not having depth.
That's
a big thing.
So this guy you can groom, you can make him into what you want, and like I said, by the time he is a full fledged, you can switch him over to the left side in 2 or 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. I can't remember what the Solder contract is, but once that contract's up, you can just move him over there. You can move him over there, and there's no pressure, right? So I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, the Dolphins did with Tunzel.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what a lot of these guys do, right?
They stuck him in a guard. It's not, went from guard to left tackle, playing left guard. So you do what you got to do.
Yeah,
exactly. As long as you're on the field and you're making impact in your first year, that's huge, and it's a good bet.
And I agree that the Herbert, or Herbert or Tua or whoever they want to say, I think the Giants are just
trying
they
to
don't care.
Their value with
they'll just if they can move back and they can get a better, they're like, look, we have 3 tackles, we're fine with all of them at wherever, if the Dolphins or Chargers or whoever somebody else takes them, we can move back a spot or 2, whatever. If we can get the Dolphins to trade up 1 spot so they can get a quarterback, it's worth the hour they put into setting up a meeting to have Herbert in there, right? That can change.
No, I totally agree. But I really think, and you guys probably, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I believe in this first round we'll see 5 tackles go. At least 5 tackles. Yeah. I'm serious.
I think so too.
I think so too. So
it's funny. I looked at a lot of the team needs, and a lot of the teams got a lot of the same needs. Like there's a lot of corners, a lot of receivers, a lot of tackles, which there's lots of in the draft. But it just seems like no matter how you look at it, somebody's going to have to fall because a lot of these guys are. Somebody's going to have to take what they need.
It is weird, like and offensive line
power.
Offensive line, there's one thing like you got to fit 5. You got to put 5 guys up for every play, right? So there's more of them on the field than any other position, and it's one of those things. Like, I think a couple years ago
they're in it.
Yeah, a couple years ago, people were talking about how it seems like in college and in high school, if you're an athlete, you used to play offensive line because you could get out there and there was a lot of running games. Well, a lot of those guys are going over and playing the defensive side of the ball.
Do you blame them? Not at all.
You can be the one hitting. You get all this other stuff. You get and it's a flashier position, and the cheerleaders aren't chasing after the offensive lineman. Let's put it that way. Maybe the guy that gets 10 sacks a year for the high school team, but probably not the left guard.
I'm just saying, Joe Thomas?
I was just about to bring that up, actually, Cody. I was just
Joe Thomas is jacked as all hell. Taylor Lewan's a good-looking guy too. From he's got a podcast too. But
Cody, I thought you were going to mention his wife. His wife's really good-looking.
We don't talk about wives.
But he's a guy that went from big, just a big, strong offensive lineman build, a little lengthier than heavier compared to some guys, are built, but he's jacked. He is a monster.
Becton, I was listening to an interview with Becton or whatever, and they were saying like, what was he doing? He's like, well, like, do you eat a lot? And he goes, to be honest, he's like, I used to like not eat a whole lot. Like I didn't want to eat the parents out of house and home essentially. So he's like, I didn't eat a whole lot, but now they're like, look, you have to like, for the amount you work out and the amount you're doing, you have to eat like 5,000 calories a day to like keep it up. And I was like, I think I'm supposed to eat like 2,000 to like, not just get huge or whatever. And, but I'm like, wow, 5,000, but it's just the amount he's burning so many calories. He has to obviously get that intake in. So I think the Rock is like 8,000 calories a day or something. Like it's stupid, right? So they're smarter than us. I'm sure on some football Sundays I've eaten 8,000 calories in the run of that day, but it's fine.
It's in the past.
Chips, donaires, pizza, wings, whatever. So
and Pepsi.
Yeah, Pepsi. Lots of Pepsi. So one of the reasons why we did the list the way we did in the order we did is because I wanted to, Cody's favorite team is the Miami Dolphins. My favorite team is the LA Chargers. So I wanted to obviously let us kind of pick our for our own teams. A little harder for Cody because his team has 3 picks, so he's got 2 out of the 3, and I only have 1. But so Cody at number 5 for the Miami Dolphins. Who are you taking for your Dolphins? And this doesn't even have to be who you think they should. It's who you want.
I think they're going to take Tua.
Yeah,
I do. I understand if they take Herbert, 100%. Just is what it is. Quarterbacks are quarterbacks. I said this trivia today. Generally, you look at the last 10 years, first-round quarterbacks don't have a great track record.
No.
Overall, you want to compare numbers to numbers. Look at Winston and Mariota. They're first and second. They're both looking at different franchises. I think they're going to go after Tua. I think he's just got the higher pedigree. Hope you can get 7-8 years out of him, because I think by then your window is probably closing anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds of most of these franchises running 10, 20 years of great production just doesn't happen. Somebody will have a bad day and somebody will get fired and it'll be a total turnover. That's just the way it goes. So I think they take Tua. I like Herbert. They won them all year, so I don't know why they changed last minute.
Yeah, and it was tanking for Tua, and obviously Joe Burrow's kind of skyrocketed up the thing. I also can say you are confirmed. You are now officially part of this podcast because you used the phrase 100%. Because I use that about 4,000 times per episode.
That's Eric saying. He says it at least once or twice an episode, if not 3 times.
That's trademark.
Yeah, trademark. So
that's okay.
I'll be wanting that
That's
royalty
funny.
check later on. But no,
Yeah.
who was the guy? Joe. Obviously Joe Burrow's is number 1. Tua. It's like I said, it's one of those things. I know they kind of even said, I think they switched offensive coordinators this year and stuff over in Alabama. So he didn't look as good this year as he looked last year. And he played hurt a lot of it, right? It's just, he had the high ankle sprain.
It's tough.
And it's just, you're learning a new system and, he's going to learn a new system again, right? That's part of coming in.
There's good competition this year too, though. They played some good teams.
Yeah.
Some teams kind of caught up to them a little bit. So
I think the Dolphins, and this is beyond this, but I think the Dolphins keep Fitzmagic. Do you see them?
100%.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they got it.
Just keep him as that veteran guy.
I think he starts this year. I don't know if you see Tua towards the end of the year if they get Tua. I hope they do get Tua. I like Tua a lot. Miami's been starving for a quarterback. He's got great leadership. He's never faced another guy who can be behind, and it looks like they're ahead. There's no panic. So I think it'd be a great pick for them. And he's an athlete, right? He can scramble and stuff. I just hope he goes down instead of, doing the whole Michael Vick thing and some of these young RG3 guys and take back.
If not, just watch RG3. His room is
career. Exactly. So.
I think RG3 was the perfect example of they came in and they built a system around him, right? That's part of what we were saying earlier. If you have a quarterback or any player really, and you don't fit what works good for them, especially quarterback, it's a disaster, right? He looked really good, with Kyle Shanahan, leading that offense and everything else, and made him look amazing, which he usually does. And then after that, obviously there was injury stuff too, but he just never quite looked the same. Well, you look at Lamar Jackson this year, and he's in the perfect scenario too. Good team, good offensive line, all this stuff. RG3 is his backup, but that team's also built around Lamar. That's the kind of style that they're playing, right? So I think the Dolphins are doing good. Do you see them trading Rosen or letting him go? I don't even know what Rosen's
well, I think they'll try to trade him, but if they can't get anything for him, just take anything.
I think I don't know what his value is. I mean, it's a guessing game, but I think if they get anything less than a 4th, which they're going to be a hard time trying to get a 4th, you might as well sit him. You might as well keep him on your bench. Yeah. And you went after Mirgo for a reason. You need 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, so what the hell?
Look, people kept Christian Ponder and Jake Walker on a roster for their rookie contract. So He's better. He's
Really?
better than those guys.
I hate to say this, but Rosen really is only going into his third year,
Yeah.
and he didn't play a whole complete year.
He's
starting
younger than Burrow.
in either season, right? So exactly, that's another thing too that a lot of people don't know.
That's part of
He's
the.
not an old quarterback.
No, that's the thing. Like a lot of people don't realize. Like Joe Burrows is, 6 or 7 months older than Sam Darnold.
He's
right
a couple for sure.
right? He's
Oh, yeah.
literally like still
He's a
now.
beauty.
He's still, like I said,
Well, he's a
almost
senior.
He's a different year older. By calendar year, he's a whole calendar year older than Sam Darnold, who's been in the league for going on his third year.
I like that though.
So I do too, right? But
I
it's
like
just
that.
when you're comparing them, like it's a little easier. So
Yeah, apples to oranges.
So to recap, so far we have the Bengals taking Burrows, the Redskins taking Chase Young, the Lions taking Jeffrey Okudah. Trevor, we weren't. This is the thing. It could go in. They could go anyways with the tackle here. There's 3 or 4 guys that you could take as the first one off the board.
I like Iowa's too.
Trevor takes Wills Jr. And then Cody just took Tua. Dolphins tanked for Tua, and at number 5 overall, still got him. So just shows you what's going on. So now it's the Chargers pick.
Who do you got?
A lot of people obviously are going to be saying,
We've been waiting for this, Eric.
take Herbert. And I'm saying, don't take Herbert.
Take a tackle.
Yeah, so take a tackle.
Yeah.
This is another reason why I didn't let Trevor pick, because Trevor might have picked.
Yeah, we do this.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like
Oh,
to
you
know?
were getting
Eric?
them.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh my God! Well, we'll never know. So
That's right.
Who are you
That is
taking?
correct.
Because
That is
we have a
fact.
guess. We have 2 guesses.
So I'm taking Andrew Thomas. He's my favorite.
We had that written down.
I
We
had
figured that was
I
your
had
pick.
him. I had him. Him and Wills are 1A, 1B, literally on my sheet. Because I kind of did like a little cheat sheet of what teams needed and who might be there for them as I go down the list to draft to this mock draft. I had Andrew Thomas or Wills, depending on if what one was gone. For me, I just think he's your prototypical left tackle. Plug him in for the next however long, and
10 years at least, hopefully.
10 years,
One contract.
one contract until the Chargers say no, we don't want to pay him.
5 years.
Yeah.
But you got Balaga on the right side right
No,
now.
it's a good pick.
Pouncey in the center. You get Trey Turner on one guard. You can do Forrest Lamp or Dan Feeney on the other guard, whatever. But I think that's the way to go. I hope they don't stick to Trey Pipkins that they took in like the 3rd round, who's a project. I hope they don't say, well, we have him, in the works.
No, you guys will
him.
grab somebody good there. That's 6th pick. You guys are going to take a blue collar or blue chip prospect, so a guy who's going to plug and play, and he's going to figure it out.
I just don't want my quarterbacks in a body cast. It's not too much to ask. And I think a lot of what they're going to do this year is they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball with Justin Jackson and Eckler.
It'd be crazy not to.
And they're going to run play action and chuck it up to Williams, and I think that's the plan for them. So
I wouldn't be surprised. You guys are going to think I'm crazy here, but I'm going to go off I wouldn't be surprised. Let's say Simmons is still there, that linebacker out of Clemson.
Simmons.
Maybe they go grab him.
It's not
out of the
crazy.
blue. Yeah,
No.
because they got to deal with Mahomes
It's not crazy.
and stuff.
That would be the other pick that I'm okay with.
That'd be an awesome pick for you guys.
I like him. I wish he would have flashed a little more on game tape. He's one of those guys that obviously he hits the combine. He runs, the times he did. He's a freak athlete, right? All of his testing is off the charts. It would have been nice to see him flash a little more.
He was good in the big games, though. He was good against LSU.
He was good. But like I said, it's just one of those things. I would like to see it a little more. But obviously, a lot of people get enamored by seeing, him and Derwin James out there just flying around, covering guys, everything else. It's playing against the Chiefs twice a year. You got to have coverage with Kelsey and all these other guys. So I understand, but for this mock draft, the LA Chargers are taking Andrew Thomas, the offensive tackle out of Georgia.
Now here's off the board. Do you think that in any realm of the possibility they would ever take a guy like Brown from Auburn?
I hope not.
That's a good
I'm not-
pick, though.
Because he's high on some guys' boards.
I know that people are high on, but my only issue is, and it's kind of my thought process on it, is his comp is essentially somebody like Danny Shelton, which good. Don't get me wrong, I like Danny
And that's
Shelton,
not.
but
Yeah,
that's not
absolutely,
who.
but not great.
But it's almost like with this, the way I look at it, it's value, right? Like where can you where can you pick up somebody off the street that would be close to the run stuffing ability of Brown? Probably,
But,
find
yeah,
somebody.
I
But
don't know. Yes,
but can you find an offensive tackle like Andrew Thomas?
But you guys
off
just
the-
said, like, New England lost 2 Super Bowls to the Giants. And what did the Giants do against Tom Brady and New
Their
England?
D-line was ridiculous.
The interior offensive
that's
line
why I
could not
asked.
hold up. Could
Yeah.
not hold up.
You
They
talk
couldn't
about
step up.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
You talk about playing that
But see,
division. That's why I
but
asked.
see, the thing with Andrew Tom or with
Brown?
Brown is he doesn't have he's not a pass rushing guy. Like he's more of a just a run blocking. And when I watched him play
He
against,
gets there.
when I watched him play against, I think it was Iowa, because I think it was Tristan Wirfs, the tackle. He looked bad. Like Brown looked bad against good competition, against good offensive linemen. Like just
Well, that'll
got
come out
erased.
fast if that's the
yeah.
case.
So they said he's a run stuffer, which is good. But I just don't see him as that elite talent that it's like, look, at number 6 overall, I want to take a defensive tackle that's good in, stopping the run, which teams are only doing, he essentially becomes a defensive tackle that you can't have on the field on third downs. And that's not really what I want. They also took Jerry Tillery last year in the first round at defensive tackle. So to go back-to-back years with defensive tackle might be a bit of a stretch too. So
It's a new regime there.
same regime. What do you mean?
Oh, we talking Chargers still?
Yeah, we're still talking Chargers.
I'm on to the Panthers.
Okay, so to the Panthers.
He's moving on. He's had enough.
He's had enough. He's like, look, New England's getting a 20-minute segment coming up, you motherfucker.
No.
Carolina Panthers, number 7 overall. Trevor, who do you get?
For Carolina, they're taking a guy we just mentioned earlier, Isaiah Simmons, linebacker out of Clemson.
Makes sense.
I just think after the retirement of their
Luke Kuechly.
Exactly. I just think you replace a leader with another leader, a future leader who's probably going to play 10 years for you at a high level. He can blitz. He can do it all. He's sideline to sideline. He's quick as hell. He can cover. Some people on some people's boards, I guess, he's a safety. I'm like, not a chance.
No.
Going to play linebacker. He's going to,
240.
So, you can't go wrong there. I think this is a great pick for them. This is a new regime, new coach. Sorry, that's why I said that to you, Eric. I was already on to.
Yeah, they got Matt Rule
in my mind. I really like
Baylor.
him. I think he played really good, unlike you apparently in those big games. When you're a player,
That's all right, though.
if you want to blitz, you can't blitz. You got to do what the play calls for.
No,
So,
and like I said, I was kind of hoping that he, like I said, his production wasn't like next level production, which is kind of what, like I said, a lot of this stuff you want to see.
Clemson, though, yeah.
It's
Clemson's like that.
Yeah, it's and some guys they they do good.
Even we'll bring up another linebacker who's going to go from not Clemson but LSU, like Queen. Like his numbers don't really kill you. Like they're good.
Yeah.
They're really good, but they're not crazy. So I don't know. I just really like him.
Simmons
is miss there.
Yeah.
What's that?
Simmons is what Cleveland hoped Jabril Peppers would have been.
Yeah.
That's essentially what he is. He's a similar style of college player, but he's gonna, I think, translate way better into the pros.
And it's the same as.
And not that Peppers is bad.
No, and I think Simmons played better than, because Peppers is kind of like all over the place, right? He played offense.
Yes,
he
was
special teams. He played every.
He was their team in Michigan.
It was kind of those things in
I like him.
For another one from Michigan is Evans that went to the Packers last year, who he tests like off the charts. But you just don't see it on the field. Like I said, he's not those guys. He's not just a freak athlete. Like I said, it's just like, and he's still the first linebacker off the board. He would have been my first linebacker off the board. So it's not like he's a total scrub. Like I said, it's just, like to see a couple little extra things, but he still has the potential to be really good. And I think for the Panthers, I think they go there. Could they go tackle too? Could they try to protect, Teddy, could they go with, one of these guys that might kick into guard? Maybe. Do they go with receiver? Maybe. I don't know if that's too early for one of those guys, but because you got, DJ Moore, you got Devin Funchess, but I think a lot of this is going to be, it's all going to be worked around Christian McCaffrey on the offense. That's why you pay the guy $16 million a year. So, yeah. So, moving on to number 8, it's the Arizona Cardinals. Last year they had the first overall pick, and they took Kyler Murray. So who do you have? Do you have them going offense? Do you have them going defense? What do you got, Cody?
I couldn't find a 6-foot-tall offensive tackle.
Okay.
So that Murray could see over top of them. So I took Wirfs at Iowa.
Okay.
Some of these O-lines I haven't had time to look up massive amounts of information on him, but
yeah.
I know where he's at. I have done a fair amount reading on him, and it's what they need. I mean, you got to protect the kid. They brought in receivers. They got running backs. They're a team like the Steelers. Anybody can run for whatever reason in that system.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenyon Drake went over there. He looked like a magician.
Yeah.
He's a good running back, but
and I think
they're
going to. I think they're going to look better.
Safe pick.
I think they're going to look better as time goes on because, like the coach came out and he kind of even said, they didn't practice in the preseason as much of their system as they probably should have because he was trying to kind of hide some stuff from the other team, so they couldn't really scout him in the preseason. And
he's a rookie too.
But he was a rookie, right? So I think he even kind of came out and said, like, look, that was on me. Probably not the best idea. It kind of pushed our offense back a couple weeks from where it should have been. So I think they have a lot of chances. You got Hopkins over there. You got you got Christian Kirk, you got Fitzgerald, you got, they took
the Hall of Famer.
They took 4
future.
They took 4 receivers last year in the draft, I think. So like they just loaded up and said, like, look, we're just going to grab all the receivers. They kind of pulled was it the Browns that did that like 6 or 7 years ago? The Browns took like 3 or 4 receivers. But
I'll be super happy if they take a few.
I wish they could have kept a few other defensive players. They've slowly, them defensive players have been walking away, and by the time they get this offense to where they want it, they're gonna, what they had is now what their offense was, and not good enough.
Yeah. No, it's
Wirfs. I think that's a pick.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I think it's a good pick too.
Iowa, that's all they do is produce really good NFL linemen. Period.
Yeah.
Like they do a hell of a job.
And I think when we talked about it, like I see him sticking that right tackle or maybe even just pushing into guard. But I think one way or another, he's a solid offensive lineman.
He's a starter and he's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think
that's all that matters.
I think that's what you need, right? Like, so just keep that kid upright as much as possible. Build around him, and do the opposite as what the Colts did for Andrew Luck for all those years. So I'm going to move on to
Jags.
This is one of my favorite picks. People, I'm very interested to see where Eric goes.
I had it.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where Eric goes with this pick because this is going to be really good.
So the Jags are one of those teams where it's like, what do you nobody hates the Jags because how could you hate them? Like they haven't really given you a reason.
Like the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, like everyone's like, oh, they're kind of cool. Like, I know what? I think I'm going to start a season on Madden with them and see what I can do with them, right? So
they just had a stacked defense, which they don't anymore.
No, they went from being a couple minutes away from beating the New England Patriots. They played, 3 quarters.
Should have beat them.
Should have beat the New England Patriots. Yeah. But when your quarterback's Blake Bortles, that's what you get.
He won me and Trevor each a fantasy championship.
That is a fact.
This is true.
He's a beauty in fantasy.
Which is one of those things. He's won you guys championships, and somebody like Ben Roethlisberger, who I think the year that I had him in the championship, his lowest before the championship game was like 15 points or something. And in our league that we have with our we're coding Trevor Stillwork. I don't anymore. But he ended up getting like a minus 12 in that game. So there's like a 25-point swing from his worst of the season to what he ended up getting. Ended up losing me that championship. Great. Perfect. Awesome.
You got to have the vision, Eric. You've got to have the vision.
Yeah, apparently.
But who do you got?
So with my first pick, I'm also going to try to build around the quarterback. I think Gardner Minshew, I think, he got labeled a lot of stuff because he's a smaller quarterback, but he came out last year. His numbers were really good.
I like his moxie. Good leader.
Just
He looked good.
he just looked awesome. Great
Not afraid of the
mustache,
moment.
great facial hair. So I want to build around that guy, but I don't want to go Becton. I thought about going Becton, and I decided not to. But I'm going to give him. You got DJ Chark, you got him on the in the slot mostly, and yes, you got D.D. Westbrook and all these other guys. But I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy out of
I like it.
Oklahoma.
Really?
or out of
Goes with the
Alabama.
receiver.
So, like I
like
said,
it.
just give him another dominant guy. Like I said, DJ Shark put up awesome numbers last year. He did really good. And, put this guy on the outside and watch the meet, right? Like, just watch what Gardner Minshew could do. If you're going to turn it over to the kid, you might as well give it to him. The other place you go with this is corner. I think a lot of guys have them taking
Henderson?
CJ Henderson. Some guys get them going with a tackle, whether it's Brown or Kinlaw.
Honestly, right now, with Brown still being on the board, I'd be surprised they didn't take him. But like you said, they did trade away both their corners. Yeah, they traded away both their corners. So
we talked about this last night, Trevor. Jeudy probably steps into, potentially the best receiver they've ever had. Period.
No, agreed.
If I watch a lot of USC in college, and I'm a big fan of Miracle Ali. I liked Robert Woods when they both come out of USC, but
I love
Lee's
Woods,
never been able to stay healthy.
No.
But if he could get healthy and him be their number 2 or 3, they've got some other good secondary pieces for the catching game there. I like that pick.
And I think
they've done a really good job drafting.
I think they're going to do.
They did have Robertson too. Remember from the Bears?
They were the team that I thought of. They were the team that took Marquise Lee. They took. I can't remember now. They took like 4 receivers in one draft. I think it was either the year they took Blake Bortles or the year after. And it just they had Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson was good for them too. But I think at this point, if you're going to build around Gardner, you're going to give him the reins.
Somebody's going to catch the ball.
That's not a bad pick, Eric. I'm not giving you a hard time about that. I like that. And then they got the rumors now that they're going to trade what is it, Leonard Fournette? Is that the running back?
Yeah,
am I right there?
They're talking about.
I hope they don't do that. If they do,
Fournette.
There's lots of running backs in this draft. So,
but it's one of those things. Like, what do you get out of them? Right? Is it worth it? Is if you trade him for a third, is the running back you're going to get in the third round? Is he going to be worth the same?
They're
level?
not going to get a third for him.
No, exactly. You probably not.
For whatever reason, like.
And it's just because running backs he's going to be due his contract, right? Like it's just running backs. I don't think. A lot of them aren't worth, and I know I go through this all the time, but they're just not worth that high-end pick for a lot of guys because of, just you're moving a lot away from the running back, the main running being the thing. So
they don't really want to pay them on their second contract. Like I know they just paid McCaffrey. Good call on their part, especially since he's so young.
But McCaffrey's also
different.
Years ahead of him.
Yeah, McCaffrey's
different.
Yeah, he's like a Marshall Falk. He's like an LT that's behind me. Like give
him the ball in space.
Well, yeah, like
just give him the ball.
He catches the ball so much, like he's
like
almost a receiver. So
people don't talk like you look at Kenyon Drake. Obviously, Miami drafted him coming out of Bama. I watch a lot of Bama as well. He never got a lot of touches. That's one thing with Bama backs. They come in with 2 or 3 years of hard labor on them. Drake didn't get none. He was a third down guy. He didn't really. If the top guy was out, he wasn't necessarily the next guy to get the ball. Yeah. So, he's got a lot less wear and tear on him. And these other guys, it's not the case. Look at Trent Richardson.
I think he would have been there with
3 or 4 years of ball.
Henry. Would he not? He would have been there with Henry, I think. Tennessee's running back.
Possibly.
Yeah, he would have been. But he would have been older. I think he came out.
There was another guy, too. You are right. They're always stacked at running back.
Yeah. So, Trevor, who do you got coming?
The guy the Jags took.
Yeah. Who do you got?
The Jags got. They got TJ Yeldon.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, I love Yeldon too. Still do.
Who do you got, Trevor, coming for the Browns at number 10?
The Browns.
Now you took Andrew Thomas off the board, correct?
Yep.
George's, So I'm gonna go with. I'd like to see this guy go to the next pick, but I'm gonna go with Beckman here.
Becton, yeah.
Yeah, the offensive line or tackle. Sorry for Louisville.
Yep.
He's a little
Louisville?
bit. He's not as polished as some of the other guys, but the
No, he's
potential is crazy. He never seems to get beat, and he throws grown men around like a rag doll. So you know,
6'7", 365
the
pounds.
potential's like like to even be better, but
Felt just
some
like
of these
Trevor.
guys ahead that we took ahead of them. Sorry, but wow, like you got your franchise quarterback there. He's a bit of a gunslinger, and he was running for his life last year. They've got all those offensive receivers. They got one of the better running backs. Nobody talked about it. George, a Bulldog there, but he had a sick. Did he win the title last year? Rushing title? Came up second, didn't he? Chubb.
Yeah, because Henry.
Chubb. I think he came up second in the last week.
Yeah, he did.
But Freddie Kitchens, just hand him the ball, man. Like figure that.
He did. He handed him the ball on like 4th and 14.
Enough.
So
especially early in the year.
That was he had the draw play called for Nick Chubb on 4th and 14.
And he got the first down, did he not?
No, he didn't. He got stopped for
he did on one
yards.
occasion. He's a beauty.
You don't run a draw on 4th down. That's terrible.
You do if you're New England, boy.
I think it's a good pickup. I think it fits what they want to do. They want to run the ball a lot with Nick Chubb, I think, this year, and I think they're going to do a lot more play action, which is kind of what Baker Mayfield, let Baker get into space and chuck the ball around when he gets a chance.
Cleveland, they're going to have to be patient with Baker too, because here he's
they got to calm him down.
I know, but it's his second year. This is going to be his third, and he's getting a new offensive coordinator and all that. That's all I mean. So you know how that goes. He's trying to learn a new system. So
they need to calm his mentality down.
No, for sure. He can't be throwing the ball away. You can't win if you don't have the ball.
Yeah,
his ego's too in check.
No, I totally agree.
But he's got the talent. He's got the talent.
He's got all the talent in the world. No, it's good. I like the pick. Like you said, I think he's a guy you can groom. Obviously, you got Jack Conklin on the right, but I think for the system that they want to run with all the play action and all the running game and stuff, I think Becton would even fit in there for them right off the get-go. So
I do like Baker, though, boys. Do you guys like Baker? I really do like him. I hate to say it, but that's the best quarterback they've had in a long time.
I don't think that's –
yeah,
that's not the wrong guy.
Just another good guy for them. So we're going to move on to Cody. Cody's got the Jets.
Very interested to see where Cody goes with this.
So, can we draft a head coach? Is that allowed?
And a GM?
So I hate Adam Gase. He's terrible. He's a prime example of a coordinator that should not be a head coach. Like Patricia. Too much of an ego.
It was that interview where he's just like staring off into space, just, like, oh my god.
Just power trip. Like not re-signing Jamal Adams. You crazy?
Yeah, just give the guy his money.
I don't know what goes on, like who's saying what to who, but I remember when the Dolphins started this year or last year, they cut everybody and watching NFL.com or NFL Network, and the guy said, New England didn't win all them titles with choir boys.
No.
Not everybody's going to get along. You got 90 guys at any given time around that. It ain't going to happen. So Jamal Adams is a little bit hot. He's got talent. I mean, you got to try to work around it, but
the guy wants to win at the end of the day, right? Like that's the problem with a lot of these guys. You want the winners in your organization. This guy wants to win, and he's not happy. He's not happy with how
everybody leads differently.
Yeah, he's not happy with how stuff's going to do. He told them, I don't want a franchise tag. They franchise tag him. He says, look, I'm not going to show up if you franchise tag me. And like he's so good though. Like, why would you ever want to not have that guy on your team?
He's above average. Period. Yeah, he's really good. I'd take him in New England.
For me, I don't know what they're going to do 100%. Like, I like Sam Darnold, another USC guy, but I think he's a guy that he showed really well in his draft year, outside of football. Like outside of the main games, combine, all that stuff. His pro day was in wet weather. He threw very well. They got nobody to throw to. They've had nobody to throw to. I like Robbie Anderson. I don't think he's the number one.
Well, they lost him.
So they don't have really anybody. I kind of had Judy going in here, and what me and Trevor had went through. So I'm going to go with Lamb at Oklahoma.
I like it.
They got to get somebody the ball. I think Darnold can be the long-term answer there. I like him better than Josh Allen.
Yep.
Right now, he's probably the best quarterback in the division.
He reads the field so much better. That's just my opinion, but he does.
I think Lamb, long-term, no matter who's the coach is there, is going to fit their system. So that's kind of the guy I think is the best fit for them.
I like it. So obviously you get kind of put in a rough spot too, where all the tackles and stuff went off the board.
Well, that's kind of what I would have liked to, but you
Give-
need both. So
yeah, exactly. It's at that point. Do you reach on, Austin Cleveland, or do you leave, or Josh Jones, or all these guys that are predicted as a later guy, or do you just grab the best player available that's still in your, not even best player available, but best player that in your need? Do you want to see
you
them
get
take
the one
another?
A, one B.
Yeah, you don't want to see them take another defensive tackle prospect. They've only taken 7 of those in the first round in the last.
And they only trade them away for no reason. I don't understand that.
Leonard Williams.
Williams being the last, which I don't understand.
I like Lamb too. I think I had a really hard time between Judy and Lamb trying to decide who I like the most.
So do I.
But I like him a lot. So gonna move on to me. So I actually had all the 3 guys that I had penciled in for the Raiders, they're all gone because I had either Judy, Lamb, or Becton. So the last 3 picks, 1, 2, 3, they're all gone off my list. So, with the Raiders, they obviously want to do. They have lots of stuff they want to do, but they like their athletes. And in this one, I'm gonna go with. I'm going to go CJ Henderson.
You know what?
Give them.
I do think they're going to take a receiver, but if the guy's there, like you just said, like the predicament you're in, they can't get Lamb or Judy, we'll say. I wouldn't be surprised, Eric, if you maybe – I don't think it will be him, though. I think they'd surpass him and to go with A.J. Terrell because just, Murdoch really loves his Clemson and his – like Cody said.
Like the power schools. Yeah,
and there are other – I forgot that.
But I like that
he
pick.
Drafted another corner, too, and he is from Clemson. They played together, so that's kind of ironic.
I kind of had a hard time because I was trying to decide who I wanted to –
No, but a cornerback's a big need. That's all I'm trying to say. Is a big need for sure.
I was trying to decide, do I go with – who do I go with? Obviously, they need a couple things. To be honest, I'm not really – like I said, I just kind of went best player available that I saw. Like I said, obviously still not a big Brown fan. They also took Kellen Farrell.
I was going to say he's probably one of the best guys on the board. Brown
They got Crosby Crosby, whatever it is. They took him. They got him. Last year, he looked good for them. So, like I said, add to the corners. You have the pass rush coming from on that line. Give you a couple more corners and watch your guys kind of hold up. So, yeah.
Well, they pick again at 19.
Yeah,
and
and that's it, right? So,
a lot of receivers in this draft too.
Yeah, like do you reach on a receiver right now, or do you let
go get Jefferson at 19?
Yeah, or whoever, right? So there's lots of options. So
if he's still there,
a sneaky guy there could be Herbert.
Yep.
Because just the way that franchise is run.
Trevor makes the. I guess we haven't talked about Justin Herbert in a while. Totally forgot about him.
But he's a guy that could go.
And Love's still there, and Brown was like a top 5 pick, and he's still on our board. So this is just how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Well, especially without trades.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real here. Somebody's probably moving in the top 5, and somebody's probably going to move up into the top 10.
Yeah.
That's just what history shows us.
So the 49ers have the 13th overall pick, and they got that from trading Buckner over to the Colts.
I don't understand that trade.
But the only reason why
couldn't pay them both. That's why
is it's
money.
I know.
It's you're running out of guys to pay, and then the other part is I understand it from both sides. Like for Indy, they are like, look, we know what this guy is. We know he's not just a combine athlete.
He's a force.
So he's a force out there.
He's a freak in the middle of the defense.
And
he's literally a freak.
The Niners just said, look, we got all these guys. We got Solomon Thomas. We got, Nick Bosa.
They were all first-round picks on that line, be honest, for the 49ers.
And Eric Armstead. So we got all 3 of these guys here. We got 4 guys. Do we need so who do you got taking who do you get the 49ers taking, Trevor?
Well, I wanted to take Ruggs here, but here, that's what I was thinking, to stretch their offense out. They do a lot of play action, so I think this would fit really well for them, the more I think about it. But, they still got Brown on the board here, so maybe they, swap out one defensive lineman for another. So I'll say Brown here and let Ruggs fall down a little bit further. And that way they replace.
It's a deep draft.
Exactly. And I'm just thinking they get a more, they get a top 10 or top 5 or top 10 pick and at 13. So, and they're replacing
Good
a first
value.
round. Exactly. So I don't know.
Yeah,
They can't go wrong with either player, but I'll say Brown just because I can't see him falling down this far. I could be wrong, but I'll go with Brown. What the hell?
Yep. I like it. Like I said, you're just adding another guy to that line that, they lost a guy,
And
but now you get another guy for
They
a little
can
bit
find
cheaper.
a receiver that can stretch the field later on. Like he might not be a stud.
That's
but
the thing. Like this draft, it's when you start getting a run. Like I said, the tackles almost became. You got to grab a guy because there's only 5 or 6 guys that are really, only 4 guys really that are on the top echelon of it, and then past that you have a couple guys that are decent. With the receivers, it's the top 2 with Judy and Lamb, and then after that, a lot of people like Ruggs because of his combine and stuff.
I like
potential,
Ruggs.
but
I do.
really, I think he's more in that second tier with, Jefferson.
I do like Jefferson better though.
Ayuk, all these guys. So
Mims is moving up.
yeah. So, Cody, who do you get the Bucks with their new quarterback, Tom Brady? Who do you get the Buccaneers taking? Trevor, was that a tier
I
I
think
saw?
they should draft quarterback.
Keyword's great with his game.
Yeah.
Well, that's one team that does not need a receiver. That's for sure. Not this high. And that's a team I think that should go after Fournette. But for this, I got Kinlaw, defensive tackle.
I like it.
That's a position they need. That's a position you see a lot of guys have them going there. They need whatever they got to do. Whatever they can do. They got to go after it now. I mean, Tom's not getting no younger. He's certainly still a hell of a quarterback. I mean, he might not all the time. I think he still got the arm strength. It's just not necessarily there all the time. But Manning won his last Super Bowl and he didn't have an arm left.
Nope.
So. And they, when they won in 2002, they won with a good team, but an outstanding defense. So I think they go with Kinlaw. I like him. That's what we're going with.
Perfect. I think it's a good pick too. Like I said, add something to that line. Try to build up that defense so maybe they can stop a couple points going up on the board and go from there. So gonna move on to the Broncos. So somehow I got the Broncos and I got the Raiders, and I hate both of these teams. Once again, not going to try to screw these teams over.
It's going off the board.
No. So I think Cortland's, obviously Cortland Sutton's, good receiver down there. They're going to see what they got out of Drew Lock. See how
they need help.
He does.
I know where he's going here.
So give him another guy and give them Ruggs.
He's so predictable.
I like it.
I'm not a Ruggs
I like
guy.
it too.
I'm not a Ruggs guy
sense.
at all. I think he's.
Ruggs the third. You forgot that part.
For me too, I think Ruggs is like a really good guy to have, to be the Robin to somebody's Batman.
Yeah,
I really think that would help him out a lot too.
I don't think he's going to be a first, but I think that's why Sutton obviously is the 1A.
You don't need to be a first.
You got to make this guy the
Sutton's a
second. You make this guy the second or third. That's my only main thing about Ruggs, and it's why for a lot of teams, if they're just looking for that number one receiver, I don't like it because I don't. He was the 4th receiver on his own team. They had 3 other guys on Alabama that were ahead of him on the depth chart. So when you're
that's not out of the norm.
No, but it's still
for them.
You have all these other guys that are better. Maybe you ran really fast, but
the matchups.
You also if you were as good as you say you are, you probably would have got more chances and got more looks and everything else. So Broncos get Ruggs at number 15. So
good pick.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Atlanta, Trevor.
All right, so like I've talked to Cody before about this, I really think they need. Well, first of all, they cut Beasley, let him go. He walked to Tennessee.
Yep.
So they need an edge rusher. They also let Trufant go. I really want to go with the edge rusher here, but C.J. Henderson's still on the board, and I just can't believe it. So I'm going to say he's going to.
No, he's
what?
not.
No, he's not.
Where'd he go?
This is why we told him to write
There's
stuff
not 2
down.
Sebastian Ahos in this draft.
There should be, okay?
Henderson went to the
No, he
Raiders
went
at
right to
12.
at the
Where-
Raiders.
Oh, yeah, he went to the Raiders. You're such a loser. Raiders.
No.
He's not going to the Raiders, boy. Write it down, people. He's not
Yeah.
going to the Raiders.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, then I'll give him the LSU pass rusher then. I don't know how you
Is
say
it
this guy's name.
Chason? Like,
Yeah.
a different part of the world, so I don't know how they pronounce it.
We'll say Song.
Yeah.
He's a freak athlete. He's a little undersized, but I really like him, and we'll see what he does there in Atlanta. They need a new boy.
Our buddy
He's the
Jay,
guy.
our
He's
buddy
the
Jay,
pick.
Jay Chason out of Parkton.
Alex's brother.
Yeah.
So he's from Ottawa.
Yeah. So Calaven, whatever how you spell it, Chason out of
Yeah, I
LSU.
Whatever.
I figured
six-
the L was silent, but I ain't gonna try to
6'3".
guess.
We haven't.
Works for me.
We've never highlighted him, but 6'3", 254. Outside linebacker, edge rusher, whatever you want to call it. He's gonna just try to get after them. So
He's
I
going to
think
get
that's
after them, boy.
I think that's a good thing. And I think that's a good pick for the Falcons. Like I said, they got to figure something out. That's that Dan Quinn.
They could go corner there, too. I think they go defense, though.
Yeah,
I really do.
Dan Quinn obviously wants to try to, he's a defensive coach. He wants to keep on going. If for some reason Dan Quinn's not the coach there anymore and I missed that, I'm sorry, but yeah, it is what it is. So
17,
Cody,
we got Dallas.
the Cowboys, the Cowgirls, who do you got?
I hate the Cowboys.
So do I.
No, that's a lie. I hate Jerry Jones. He's kind of like why I hate the Senders because I can't stand Eugene Melnick.
Yeah,
I really
me
don't like.
too.
I don't
hate
want the
them both.
players.
They both suck.
I got McKinney, safety at Alabama.
Okay, Xavier McKinney.
I like that they brought in HaHa Clinton Dix.
Mhm.
I like him. I watch the Bears a lot. Kind of one of my second or third teams, and he played good there. Played pretty good with Green Bay. Pretty good with Washington. So they bring in McKinney, and I don't know what they're going to do with him exactly as far as long term. I mean, Byron Jones went from safety to corner. Now he's with the Dolphins, and he was good at both positions. You see the Patriots do that lots.
Yep. Move him around.
I guess you're going to call him a defensive back, not necessarily a corner or safety.
And he played,
But he is a safety.
yeah, and he played. I think I'm just looking here online, but it says had 100 snaps at safety, cornerback, inside linebacker, and outside linebacker last year. So he was all over.
So
He played over 100 snaps
Yeah.
in all four of those positions. That's
so
wild, but that's
he's going to play in the box. I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rashad Jones did with the Dolphins. He's going to
Yeah.
hit hard.
Yeah.
But they got some good football players in that division. Up and comers. Their quarterbacks are young, but no, I think it's a good pick for Dallas. They go a few different ways, but I think
well, you got Zach
that
Ertz
point
in
they
that.
draft safety.
You got Zach Ertz, you got Evan Ingram, you got some of these big tight ends that are mobile, right? You got to have somebody to cover them, and Xavier McKinney can probably do that. So Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama, going to the Cowboys at number 17. So
this next
now
pick,
it's
Eric,
mine.
This has friendship implications. You
So
your best pick to right player.
once again, we
Sweet baby Jesus.
are gonna go with some guy you've never heard of. No.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins could go a lot of places here. Obviously, you just drafted. In this draft, you drafted your heir apparent, your quarterback in the future. A lot of people obviously want to see you, take the best player available, whether it's, it's a guard or a tackle or an offensive lineman to help them stay upright, or do you go receiver? There's also guys, Mims, Ayuk, all these other guys that are up there. Or do you go with, somebody like just a playmaker, right? Like a linebacker, like Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen or one of those guys. But I'm going to go with the tackle out of Houston, Joshua Jones.
All right. Thank
So.
goodness.
So my big
This is
thing
who
about him,
me.
my big thing is just give your guys something, right? I said there's other guys that are possibilities here. Austin Jackson, who Trevor highlighted at one point. Some people really like Cleveland. Another offensive lineman, but I think for right
He's
now,
out of Boise?
I think so. I think at this point you just take the best guy out there to kind of protect your guy, which is Joshua Jones out of Houston. So,
well, you start getting into the 5th and 6th best guy, even if they're high talents. They start to get a little bit closer in value. Depends what kind of system you run. Depends on what kind of O-lineman, mobility and stuff you're looking for. So, I mean, you can go a lot of different ways, like you say, but that's a pick me and Trevor kind of had penciled in yesterday, and I like it.
Yeah,
I know that.
It's an upgrade on that offensive line. So
we're.
I don't care if he has to long snap.
Are we still friends?
Well, the podcast ain't done.
Yeah. Okay.
Good point.
Yeah. No, he's. Like I said, I think that's just protect your guys. Whether even Fitzmagic, if it's Fitzmagic playing for the first 8 games of the season or 4 games of the season, whatever, until his magic runs out, because usually it has a lifespan. It's usually a couple games here at a time, but give whoever is out there.
7 games are awesome.
Yeah, and the thing is you guys still have another pick, down at 26. So do you take a receiver right now, or like I said, it's almost one of those things where do all those receivers, are they kind of who's the best one for us? Especially where the tackles have kind of gone. You're down to Austin Jackson and Joshua Jones as the 2 main guys, and you have 6 or 7 picks between now and the next pick. Are all of them going to be there? Probably not. So yeah,
I know Miami's got that number 11 boy. He looks pretty good, that Parker fella. Finally. Came out of his shell and played the whole year. Wow.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about Preston Williams. Undrafted free agent last year. Lights out, hands down their best preseason guy, which has little value.
Yeah.
But he was lights out in the regular season, other than he can't catch the ball half time. So if he could catch half of what he's dropping, he's thrown to way more than anybody else. He's got the body mold they want for a possession guy. He's fast for a big guy.
Trevor's all in. Trevor's all in on preseason rankings, because that's all the Patriots have to go off of with Jared Stidham, because apparently people liked him in the preseason last year.
He looked decent, but he had the odd throw. I was like, yeesh.
So Trevor, who do you got going to the Raiders?
Well, since Eric took the corner, I don't
remember Herbert's on the board, please.
I'm going to. They're going to take the receiver right here, and I'm going to take Justin Jefferson. I'm a little biased here. He had great numbers, obviously, when you have Joe Burrow thrown to him, but that's just half the battle. You got to be in the right spots. You got to run the right routes. You got to get open. He does all that. He's got good speed. He wasn't even really a top 5 wide receiver for a lot of people, and then he went to the Combine and showed great numbers, that he was faster than everybody thought and everything. So I'm really pumped to put him here. I don't know if this will actually happen, because I really thought that Lamb or Judy would end up in Oakland, or Ruggs, I guess. But I don't know. I'm going to put Jefferson here. I like it. He's great. I think he has potential to be a number 1 receiver. So he's like a possession guy. He gets a lot of balls thrown his way. He catches more than he does not. So he's pretty consistent. So
the only thing
that's what I got.
The only thing, so this he lined up.
Bring on the criticism.
So the only thing I have is that he mainly lined up most of his snaps this year in the slot. Year before he played outside and inside, but obviously this year he had a monster year lining up in the slot. And the only thing I have there is that with the Raiders last year, they drafted Renfro out of Clemson, and he also plays out of the slot. And I don't think Renfro has the speed and whatnot to play on the outside. So you'd almost be double dipping on that. But
don't worry. Jefferson can play outside, boy. Just line him up.
You know what's a good thing? You know what the great thing? You know what the great thing is? They have a formation with 2 slot backs.
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah. Fact.
You do what you do with the best talent you got.
Oh, that's it. So that's awesome. Okay, perfect. So then we got Cody going with the Jags. This is the second Jaguars pick. They took Jerry Jeudy. He's not available, Cody. I don't have to tell you like I have to tell Trevor, but
that's good news.
Don't worry about it, Haas.
Joe Burrows is also off the board.
He's been thrown back in. He failed drug test.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off the board
okay.
and say if he's sitting there at 20, Herbert's going to be walking in the Jags uniform.
Yeah.
Because he's only going to drop so far. And any of these teams that get double picks with no
Why not take
guarantee
a flyer?
savior, I like I say, the Raiders right before them. Why not?
Yeah.
What look how good Kirk Cousins sat behind RG3. So I'm not saying that's the way it's going to go. I'm just saying just because you got two young quarterbacks don't mean nothing. So
No,
I just and
you never
same thing,
know what can
Rosen and
happen,
Murray.
right?
I
have
like
some
it.
of these, yeah, you have some of these guys. Some people you just take. You can't be sure. There's lots of guys that they've drafted guys and then changed their idea. Look, all you gotta do is look last year with the Cardinals, right? They took Rosen 10th
New
overall,
coach.
and then they
New
get a new
regime.
coach, knew everything else, and they say, look, we're gonna take Kyler Murray first overall.
And
So,
you
I think
got
that makes sense.
or because this is Jags their head coach first year, right?
No,
Yeah.
don't they still have? Did they get a new coach? I was not
The
quite sure.
second year. No,
I don't
I'm not
remember.
sure.
no, it's not this
No,
year.
I don't think Doug Marone's still there.
Anyways,
Yeah.
totally retarded.
Somebody else, maybe,
Anyways,
possibly. We're not
regardless,
sure.
No, I'm thinking of the Panthers new head coach. I was thinking Baylor. But anyways, I just don't see Herbert dropping any farther. The Jags just don't get enough security there to watch him walk by.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Trevor's probably cranky because he's like, come on, let him drop to the Patriots. Let him drop to the Patriots. But no, I think that makes
Trevor's
sense.
happy.
It makes sense. Like I said, you take the chance. The value's there, right? Like I've said before, I'm not a big Herbert fan. I don't think he's a top, 6 or 7 pick. Maybe he is. Maybe he goes to my Chargers and he plays amazingly there for 15 years. You never know. But I think
maybe
at 20,
Ryan Leaf.
I think he's also more of a, at 20, I think it works out more that his value is proper at 20, which I think, like I said, I think that's a good pick.
Jaguars fans, you guys got to steal. He's just going to go in there, just tear it up. He's going to own the AFC.
Seen someone on my Facebook, they actually have a kid, and they're asking about if the football was going to start on time with everything else going on, and apparently they're a Jaguars fan. I was like, oh, why are you doing that to your poor kid? Making your kid a Jaguars fan. Oh God, it's almost being
give him another year.
Yeah, just make him switch. Just not to the Patriots. So 21, we got the Eagles. So the Eagles, they've kind of been known as having one of the better, drafts, better front offices. They obviously won the Super Bowl just a couple years ago against the Patriots. The Philly special, all that other stuff. At this point, I'm just reminding Trevor about that heartache.
Don't hurt my feelings. I got a bunch more than one.
God, I hate you. So
Fact.
They got some good guys. Lane Johnson. They got Wentz there. They got all these guys. Ertz. The issue there though is I've seen some. You watch some of these Eagles fans. Is they're like, look, we got Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey, and they're pretty much going back to like the 2012 All-Star team here with the guys that they're excited for and that can't stay healthy anymore. So I think they're going to go. I think they take a receiver, and the first receiver I have going off the board for them, I'm stuck between two. So I'm looking.
I thought Jefferson would be there.
Yeah, so Jefferson's a guy I do like for them.
It's too late, boys.
Trevor took him, but
on the road again.
He is, yeah.
We're keeping track of this, unlike Trevor. So trying to figure out all this stuff.
On the road again.
But I'm gonna go with Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. I know a lot of guys like Mims. The problem with Mims that I didn't like is that I just didn't see enough of it. He's another one of those guys. Yes, he looked really good at the Senior Bowl and stuff. He showed really well in that game, but the rest of the year he just hasn't shown enough. And it's one of those things like, did you get up to play just because it's the Senior Bowl and you can help your draft stock? But what happened to the other 13 games last year type of thing, right? So it is what it is. Once again, another combine freak.
Good spot for a trade back.
But yeah, you could trade back and get another guy.
I really like Ayuk though.
Yeah.
I really do. He's got killer speed. You just got to get him the ball in space. He can make guys miss. Like when you watch him a lot, he'll catch a 5-yard out or something like that, or a 10-yard pass, and he'll make it like a 20-yard gain. Like he just needs the ball in his hands to make guys miss. Like he just seems to get a lot after the catch. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit of return game there too. So,
for sure. Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk, receiver from Arizona State, going to the Eagles at 21. So hopefully all the Eagle fans. We got a couple friends that are Eagle fans. Yeah,
I used to like them when I was younger. Not they
Brian Dawkins.
They were always on TV though, like that. Yeah, I like
everyone loved Brian.
was there.
Yeah. T.O. Dominic McNabb.
He played on one leg in the Super Bowl against New England. One leg. Yeah. People forget that, and he tore it up too.
Yeah.
I used to like that team. Freddie Mitchell,
McNabb.
Brian Dawkins.
They had Westbrook. Was it Westbrook?
Oh,
yeah.
Dawkins?
Yeah, Westbrook. And Buckhalter. He was underrated.
Dawkins at safety with that that black visor.
Black mask.
Yeah. Remember when they had Deuce too at one point, didn't they? Deuce.
But he's terrible.
Oh, I love Deuce. Pudgy.
Terrible.
Oh, just pudgy. Love it.
Oh my god. So
looked like a fullback, and he was out there just chugging along.
Move on, quick.
Trevor's gonna go back like your brother and start talking about.
All right, so I'm on the clock here for the Giants or for the
Vikings.
For the Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings.
So I've got this guy I really do like. He's physical. He's a beast. I'm gonna go with a cornerback because they released Xavier Rhodes. I like Johnson, Utah.
Okay.
I really like this guy. He's physical. He can play zone. He can play man. He's going to get up in your face. He's going to tackle. He's not afraid to take on a huge running back. I love guys that are like that. I like the physical beauties. You know, they're not as beautiful as some of these guys like C.J. Henderson, who's a little more of a ball hawk. But I just like him. I think he's going to be great there. He's going to fit in with his head coach who likes to play defense and Zimmerman and get her done. What do you think, Eric? What do you think, Cody?
I like it.
I like him. I like the other guy we talked about here a while ago, Fulton. Or I'm going to look like a too many pages on the go here.
Yeah, LSU.
No, yeah. So he's still there. He's another option. But I like the corner. The Vikings, they got rid of both their corners.
I think
Didn't they? They got rid of Rhodes and Waynes.
For sure.
Yeah, Trey Waynes.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, he signed with the Bengals.
Yeah, so they're going to be hurting, and I like the Vikings. They got a nice roster. They let some pieces go, but
no, I think Jalen Johnson. I think he's a good pickup. I said obviously there's other guys out there that are in that pick, and it's one of those things. It's what do you find? What do you like best for that team? Christian Fulton, Farrell, all these guys. Lots of options. So now you mentioned earlier, Cody, that my Dolphins pick was to save your friendship.
See, I'm smarter
for the Patriots.
Let me stop you there. I'm trading that pick to Trevor. I'm not stupid.
It really doesn't matter to me. Take somebody good.
I'll take a pick, but I'd like to know who Trevor's pick would be. I'm going to take Love. Yeah. I think they like Stidham, and I think Stidham does have potential. I watched a little bit of his tape from college in his draft year, like live. But you got to bring in somebody. You got to bring in somebody to develop. And if Stidham doesn't work out, well, then that's not the end of the world. I think there's a real chance Brian Hoyer starts first 8 games.
Yeah.
He's been their guy if they don't think Stidham's quite ready.
I think Brian Hoyer's not the answer, though, at this point.
I think Love's going to go in. Well, no, but he's what Fitzgerald is. I mean, he needs to bring leadership, and he needs to not lose you games. It doesn't matter if he wins you.
Not turn the ball over. Yeah.
So I think Love's going one of the next 2 picks, because if he's not going to the Patriots, I can see him going to the Saints.
Yeah.
Because they know they got to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Love, but I'd like to know who Trevor would take.
Well, I'm very interested. Like right here, personally, like I wouldn't be a nay to that. I really think they got 2 good linebackers sitting right here too. And I'd love to have Patrick Quinn. But Murray's also a stud too, and I think he's underrated from Oklahoma. So either of those guys. With the quarterback, I don't hate that pick at all. I just think you bring in another guy to try to help your – so if Stidham's your guy, you just try to bring in another blue chip player that's really going to help you guys win games, because New England's going to be in dogfights almost in every game this year, which we haven't seen in years. Well, maybe a little bit last year because we didn't play that really well offensively, but they're going to be in a lot of dogfights. So like 1-score games, Hopefully, anyways, my hope, anyways. Maybe I'm wrong, but whatever. I just hope. And there's another mock draft I just seen. A guy you wanted for Cody from Michigan. Was it Caesar? That offensive lineman's name is the center.
Yeah, their center.
Yeah.
He plays
Anyways,
guard too.
they had him picked
I
up.
like
New
him.
England taking him, and I was thinking about it. I was like, that's not the end of the world, So
No, it's not. Everybody
and
last
he's really
year,
good.
Dallas took Frederick,
And amazing.
What I
He's
like
only
about him
been
too is he makes the coverage
arguably the
calls,
best
right?
center.
Exactly. So whatever. Either way, with those 4 guys we just mentioned there, I'd be happy. As long as they can get somebody that's going to play. So I don't think Love would play right away if they did draft Love. But
No, I don't think so either.
the other 3 guys would. So I'm just going to say that.
Well, how do you know? You haven't been in that position. Honestly,
True. Maybe they won't.
you don't know what they
They'll
do.
see the odd snap. We don't.
No, but I mean,
Belichick,
they
good
haven't
luck
needed a
guessing what
quarterback
Belichick's
for
gonna
20
do,
years.
so.
But that's me and Trevor talk about it all the time, right? Like we've been so lucky that quarterback, drafting a quarterback hasn't even really been a question for us for 15 years.
Oh, it's 20 for
But
me.
longer than that, you guys had quarterbacks prior too, really. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a year or two of the Chargers. I mean, they had A.J. Feely in there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Cleo Lemon, which was
Yeah.
not great.
No.
But
I don't know. Like
the
you know what I
Dolphins
do
also had
like
both those
though,
guys.
but I am feeling a little confident is Belichick does seem to find what the quarterback, if it's not Tom Brady, does well. Like Jimmy G played really good until he got hurt.
Matt
He even won
Castle?
with Kobe Burchett a couple games. So
Yeah.
I really like that part of Belichick is that he just seems to be bang on with his evaluation of what they have and what the guy does well and what he doesn't do well, and they stick to what he does well. So I don't know.
That's the nice thing about him going to the
That's a
Patriots or the Saints. It's teams that can develop quarterbacks, that can figure out. They have coaches and stuff in place that they can put a game plan around and understand that you have to put a game plan
Veteran
around.
front office.
Yeah, you just know that. Like you can't just throw and be like, okay, well, I'm going to make this guy play my system. No, you go and find out what this guy does best and you do it. So
I really like that they're not looking for the next Tom Brady because there's not going to be another Tom Brady. There's not going to be another Peyton Manning. There's not going to be – get what I mean? Like there are a lot more
Thank
like
God.
Patrick Mahomes. Like just look at Patrick Mahomes. He's unique in his own way, like Lamar Jackson too. Like these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And they're mobile and there's more to them. And I really
They're good for the
enjoy watching
game,
them
man.
play. Exactly.
Guys like Mahomes are going to bring kids into the game.
Yeah.
That's what the
Exactly.
Patriots did.
Yeah.
So
how many people started loving the Patriots and Tommy and everything else, right? So, luckily this new generation is not going to have that. So at number 24, I have the Saints. So obviously they don't have a quarterback here that they love. I don't think they would take the jump at Eason. I don't think they take the jump at Jake Fromm or anybody like that. I think they just sit back and wait for them to fall into the second or third round, wherever, if they decide to go that way. So I have them. I think they're going to go for a linebacker. So I can see them going with.
Ooh.
See, I'm having a hard time trying to decide between two of them, obviously. But I'm going to go with Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma.
Ooh, yeah, that's biased just because of the last name.
Murray, what a great last name. So I'm just going to go with him. I just think he's got the potential to be really good. And like I said, it fits a need that they have. You could go O-line. You could go safety, you could go corner. I really thought about going cornerback here too. But I think linebacker's the kind of top priority that they need on the defense. So throw in Murray there and hopefully that works. So
Yep. They're a funny team. They've had really good linebackers over the years, and they quietly go upon their business. You never really hear too much about a New Orleans linebacker.
And it's one of those things like they don't have – and linebacker is one of those weird positions that, some people don't value them super high. Like a lot of people have, obviously it depends who you talk to, but some people have corners and coverage, and some people have, defensive ends and stuff. Those are like the two top people on the defense. And I think the Saints kind of said, look, that's where we kind of value our guys too. That's why Cam Jordan's been there for so long. Obviously he's also, good. But yeah, I think Murray, he walks in. I think he's a good pick right off the get-go. So the Vikings. Now, 2 picks in a row. Trevor is like the king of the Vikings here. get him one of those
You know,
horn hats.
there's
and,
still a good linebacker there, but their linebackers are pretty good. They got two pretty good linebackers there. So if they
I
if
think
they added Patrick Quinn, that would be really sick.
Queen.
Queen. Sorry. But I also just started pondering right now. What if they double dipped in the corner market because there's a lot of good corners still there.
I was thinking the same thing. They just lost 2 corners.
Exactly. So why not double dip? So I think I'm gonna go that way. And since I just gave away Johnson to them, I think I'm gonna
Fulton's
give him.
still there.
I don't look. Yeah, I think I'll go Fulton over. So is AJ Terrell. No, I think I'll go.
Terrell we drafted.
No, we didn't.
Didn't we?
I'll go
No?
Fulton there. I think I'll go Fulton there. Another big school boy, whatever. Like played really good for LSU. He got burned a little bit this year because his sophomore partner on the other side was unreal. Really, to be honest, he's going to be a beauty next year if he comes out. They just stopped throwing at him and they started throwing at the veteran. So what's that tell you? But he did a hell of a job. Good tackler. He's got good ball skills. I like him, so I'm going to give him to Zimmer and see what he does with his 2 rookies. Have fun.
I think that's there's lots of options for them. Like they could use a rusher.
Yeah, they could use a pass rusher too, right? Because they lost one of them.
They could use a tackle.
Griffin.
They could use lots of stuff. But it's the coverage of if your guys can cover out there, that makes the world difference. So
look who's in the division.
Yeah. You get so many
Stafford
guys.
and Rodgers.
Yeah, Stafford. And Mitch Trubisky / Nick Foles. So
who?
Nick Foles. He won a Super Bowl
Bring
against
back
the
Vinny
Patriots.
Testaverde.
Nick Foles, he made that really good catch in the end zone it's called the Philly Special against the Patriots to beat the Patriots for the Super Bowl. Okay. Yeah. So no, I like that.
And how many does Los Angeles Chargers? How many Super Bowls do they have?
We've only been in LA for 1 year.
All I heard was
give us time.
There you go. Here's your sign.
So we're gonna move on to Cody's got the Dolphins again.
I'm tore. I get 3 guys I'd like to see taken here.
See
well, really, when you're this shitty.
But this is what happens, right?
But,
so like we're sitting here, and it's like that's why I wanted a third guy because I'm like, it's kind of different that you're like, hell, like I have 2 picks between like now and when my next pick is, and then all of a sudden someone goes off the board, and you're like, well, that screws up my whole freaking thing. So,
well, all 3 guys I want are here. That's the one good thing. I like the center from Michigan. I don't know how to say his last name. Cesar Ruiz.
Yeah, we'll go Ruiz. I like that. Yeah,
we'll go Ruiz. That's probably
Let's just go with whatever it is.
Whatever.
So I like him. I wouldn't mind taking a second offensive tackle in Austin Jackson. And I wouldn't mind taking DeAndre Swift. So
no receivers, no.
No, I don't. I'm not in a draft like this. Like honestly, I just think you look at receivers. There's and they got 2 second-round picks, and there's so many still there. Another guy I actually like. I wouldn't necessarily want to take him in the first round. Is Antonio Winfield Jr.
Yeah,
he's another guy I really like. Safety.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take the center. It's tough because I'd like to see the running back, but there's some good running backs later on. Could always move up late in the first round. Or with their draft capital, you don't got to draft every pick. No, and if they wanted to move up, what the hell?
And I think at that point, drafting another offensive lineman, like I said, you're building for your quarterback. And what's the best way to do it? Protecting. Like that's part of the reason why I took an offensive tackle. If the Chargers don't take anybody in this draft and they just say, look, we're just going to run with whoever, I think that's the better option rather than doing it the other way of, well, let's throw in a quarterback, but he's just going to run for his life the whole time. Like that's not going to help you. So I like that. Build that line for your guy.
My thought is they got Ruiz. He's going to play your center, maybe guard. They got Karras from the Patriots, the center. He's probably going to fill in one of those, whatever one the other guy doesn't fill in. Could have went tackle and moved Jesse Davis into guard. I'm not 100% sold on Jesse Davis, but he does got potential. So you got some options there. And same thing, like I said, Swift. I'd love to see a guy his talent there, but there's also a lot of talent left at that position. So center, there's not a pile of first line talent.
No. No, he's kind of the consensus like for best center, for this draft. So if he's there, take him. Okay, right on. So I'm going to go to the Seahawks. They lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots because they should have ran the ball.
Damn right they did. Damn right they did.
So I'm going to give them a rusher off the edge, and I'm going to go with the Yetur Gross-Matos.
Penn State.
Out of Penn State. He looks really good. He's that long, athletic, edge rusher that they seem to like over in Seattle. So I'm going to go with them. I just think there's, I don't know if there's another guy out there that, fits what they need as much as him. You could also go defensive line, try to keep Russell Wilson upright a little more. But I think their whole thing always has been, defense kind of first. So I just see them taking him. And like I said, I think at that pick, I think he's one of those guys who'll go anywhere between like that 20 to 30 range. So I think that's a good pick for them.
Sweet.
Pretty much it.
I like it.
We talked about him before. We kind of highlighted him. Just tall, rangy, good player. So number 28, the Ravens, who in back-to-back years have lost to not great, well, I guess good teams in the playoffs, but
don't worry about it. They're coming around, Haas.
Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens.
Best running back in football.
The best pass throwing running back in all of football.
Next to Ronnie Brown.
See, the guy behind me was the best. He went like
I knew that was coming.
He went like 8 for 9 for like 7 touchdowns in his career. Awesome.
I know.
The Baltimore Ravens. Who do you got going there?
Well, I was going to take the defensive end here from Iowa because I really like him, but Patrick Queen is still on the board, and he's going right here. Can you imagine?
They like their backers.
I know, but I'm just saying with Queen, I think he can do a little bit. He can play him on the outside, play him on the inside. He's fast as hell. Another guy who can blitz really well. He can also cover tight ends and stuff.
Good value.
So I really like him here. John Hoball and those guys do a really good job picking defensive players, and I think they get a stud here. A steal too, because here it is, the 28th pick, and he's still on the board. You got to take him. So what do you think, Eric? You like it? You don't like it?
I like it.
Or do you like Iowa's boy better?
I think I almost would have went with Iowa's boy. But it's hard.
I would have, but they bring in Campbell. That was my first thought, right?
The only other thing I thought about here is you obviously lost, Marshall Yonda, and you're not going to replace Yonda, because Yonda's, probably a Hall of Fame guard, right? But
not probably.
Well,
No. Absolutely.
He hasn't made it.
Anybody getting Hall of Fame?
he's getting the call.
But so I almost would have thought about maybe if there's somebody you could have kicked into guard there, or somebody else on that line. Possibly thinking about going that end of it. Austin Jackson or somebody, but I think he's good, and I think he's got the potential.
I just think they've went offense with the tight ends there so much lately that I think it's time they pick a defensive boy, and they're going to be happy with what they get here. And Patrick, LSU linebacker.
I think that's
get her done.
How do you say Iowa's defensive lineman?
AJ Epinesa?
Yeah, and it's funny. I talked with Trevor about him last night. Like, he was ranked top 15 overall for so long, and has fallen. Like, that's great value wherever he goes from this point forward. If that's the way things went,
it's just a potential thing, right? Like, and you see it a lot when you get into this stuff. That guys
he is a Raven player. He is a New England player. He is a Steelers player. Like, this is a guy who can play defensive end tackle, a 2-gap guy, or he can just line him up on a 4-3 and play defensive end. I think he can play. Yeah. He's very versatile, and I think he's underrated.
Nope, I like it.
He does a lot of things really well.
So for the Titans, so this is like Cody's girlfriend team. Who do you got? The Titans, who kind of obviously did everything last year. Where do you got them going?
They did everything because Ryan Tannehill overachieved. That was one bad contract.
Ryan Tannehill finally went out and played.
Overpaid, yeah, a little
He
bit.
played as
Just
good
a hair.
as the Dolphins press thought he was going to play before every season.
Yes,
I don't.
so I just think he played good football. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I would have went that crazy. Like to go an extra year more than you want to is one thing, but to give him 4 years of big money, like you got to show him.
118?
I don't care who it is, whether like Tannehill's always had talent, but that's ridiculous.
The quarter he threw for like 300 yards in the playoffs in 2 games. Like that's not somebody. If that's all you're passing for, this isn't 19.
That's like Kaepernick.
This is
But they didn't have to pass. That was
no,
the thing,
but
right?
that's the thing, right? Obviously,
exact same thing with the 49ers.
But how much does he matter? Can you not get, could you not have got somebody else? Jameis Winston at this point,
Do you know what the Vikings proved? You can have the best running back in football. You cannot win a Super Bowl with a running back. Not just a running back. They showed it with Peterson.
Yeah.
You can get far, but you just can't. You can't get all the way. And I think that's the problem.
And they ran into the eventual Super Bowl champions, but it's kill the clock. It's everything else. They have a lot of good stuff.
I don't know. You can
them.
argue that point though. Look at New England last year when they won 13-6.
That was just defense.
I know, but that was ugly. But I'm just saying, if you can run the ball,
but they had the quarterback. They had
no, for sure. But I'm trying to think of another example.
And I think Jimmy G's really good. I think Jimmy G's a good enough quarterback to win the Super Bowl with his arm.
Yeah,
I just don't think Tannehill is a good enough quarterback to be comfortable to win a Super Bowl with his arm.
Yeah,
I'm just not.
So
beat you by yourself.
I got here. I like a couple of guys here, but I mean, you got to replace Conklin.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to go Austin Jackson.
Okay.
I know what Tannehill looks like behind the wall.
That's our 5th offensive lineman, right?
Good.
That's our 5th tackle, right? Is it not?
Yeah,
that's
our 6th.
6.
Yes.
That's our 6th.
So my prediction was right. See, 5 we're going to go.
But that's
we ain't done yet, Haas.
But yeah, that's a guy I got anyways. I think they got to protect Tannehill, and maybe they go out and they draft a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round to kind of groom behind him. I wish they would have kept Mariota for another year, just to make sure. Because I think Mariota in the right system is still a good quarterback too.
For sure.
Just got to fix him up on a couple of things, right? Like he does a lot of things right, but just got to figure a couple of things out with him. So I like it. I would have him. I think the other one is Isaiah Wilson out of Georgia, the opposite end of Andrew Thomas. Some guys see him maybe plopping into that, getting into that last spot, and
top notch.
That top.
It could happen.
It could. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know if he's a 1st round talent. I think he might be 2nd, but I said at this point, what does it matter? If it's 1st, 2nd, whoever, like just take what you need, right? So yeah. This is one of those drafts where it's not all left tackles. Like a lot of these guys, like Wirfs and Wills, they both played on the right side this year, right? So it's kind of different from a lot of years where a right tackle wouldn't even get the snuff, right, unless you played left tackle in college. So so I got the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers. They obviously somehow, some way got a bye into the playoffs, for the 1st round of last year. Still not sure how they did that because they, they have Aaron Rodgers and they have Devontae Adams, but other than that, they don't really have a whole lot. If for some reason, Love gets past the Patriots, the Jags, any of these places, Saints, Vikings, even, they might think about doing something there. If he gets past all those teams and everybody else before that, you could see them maybe going with him, get that 5th year, groom him for the next 3 years or 4 years while Aaron Rodgers is kind of probably, might not come back for, after this contract, have him ready and going, but you have him on a rookie contract before that at the end of the 1st year, so it's a lot smaller. I'm probably going to go with, I think they need receiver help more than anything at this point.
I agree.
And because they got Devontae Adams, but Geronimo Allison, he left, he's gone. They got a couple other guys. I think Valdez Scantling's still there, But none of these guys, if Devontae Adams goes down, they're screwed at this point, right? So
They're done. Jordan Allison never
who
began
you
to be
giving
what
him?
he needed.
So
who
I'm
you
gonna
taking?
go, and it's just because a lot of guys liked him because he's got a lot of highlights. But I'm gonna go Mims, the receiver. I think
For sure, agreed.
I think he's got enough to him that I think he makes sense for them. He's just put him on. He doesn't have to be number one either, right? Like that's the thing with all this is, place these guys where they have to go. Can Mims be a number one out there if he's getting double covered? Probably not. But you're not going to be double covered with Devontae Adams on the other side of you. Never, because Devontae Adams is going to take that double coverage every day of the week. So it gives you a little more room to run out there.
Well, then you're going to have 4 guys covered, 2 guys.
yeah. So it's Mims I think is that good, like Trevor said earlier, that Robin to the Batman, and go from there. So it's be nice. I don't know if they can repeat as NFC North champs. I don't know I don't think the Bears get back there with their whole quarterback situation, but do you see do the Vikings come back? They're also down a receiver. That's another place you could have went there too, Trevor, was a receiver with them, but
with who, sorry?
With the Vikings.
Second round's coming.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Second round. Yeah. So who do you got, Trevor, taking? Who do you got the 49ers taking? With old Jimmy G.
Well, since
should have been this should have been the heir apparent.
You just took the guy I wanted, but that's all right because Higgins is still there and they're going to take him because they took Brown in the first.
I like Higgins.
So I think they're going to take Higgins. Another guy with good speed. He's not as polished as some of the other guys, but he also did a really good job in Clemson. He can catch the 50-50 balls. He's got a good radius, and he's got good battle to him and good compete. So I'm going to give them Higgins.
I like it.
So he's tall receiver too. I really like him. So not as much as some of the guys you said earlier, but he's a really good player for at the end of the first round. So
I like it. I like it's one of those things, right? Like if they had taken with CeeDee Lamb and Judy both off the off.
If they're both one of the two are there, I think they take them.
You take
but
them.
since Brown's still there, you got to take Brown. That's just me. Like you take best player.
And they got a couple other guys over there, right? They got Debo, and they got a couple other guys that kind of they have high expectations for, hopefully in the future. But I like that one. So, and to finish it off, we got the Super Bowl champion. It hurts me to say it, Kansas City Chiefs.
I love it.
Picking at number 32.
Good job, Andy Reid. I'm giving you – look at the clap right there.
Give Andy the praise he deserves.
Hall of Fame coach. Can we agree on that, guys?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think he was. I think he was.
I got them taken.
I think he was. I think he was a Hall of Fame coach even before that Super Bowl. I think that's
No, I think so too, but it's good to see him get one.
Oh, he deserved it.
Yeah. Who do you got from taking, Cody?
I got them taking Swift.
Okay.
Running back, Georgia. I think the rich get richer. They're another team that anybody can run with them. That's just the way they're built. But Swift's talent, I think all things being even, they wouldn't have got rid of Hunt had he. If Hunt could have had his shit together, I think he'd still be there running hard. But I think they're talented enough to go where they want to go, and I think Swift would be a great fit there.
I think that's a lot of people have them kind of taking somebody like him. They also have a lot of people have them taking
a
playmaker, or they have them taking a center. Whether it's Ruiz, obviously he's gone.
I like the linebacker still there gone. Too. Zach from Wisconsin, Bonner.
Bonner.
Yeah,
Bond. Yeah, like I really like him too. So, but Swift, I think I agree with you, Cody. Like he's a top 20 prospect, and you're getting him at 32. Like I don't care that he's a running back. It's the talent. Like, can the guy play or not? Is he better than average?
You just made a dangerous team more dangerous.
Exactly.
And so I don't know. I like it.
And like, if you go back and look at the Super Bowl, the 49ers controlled the clock that whole game, and they just went out there like 2-3 plays or 5 plays and bang, scored Kansas City. So so they can like go back to try to control the clock if they want, or they can beat in so many different ways. Is what I'm trying to say. So they can hand the ball off to him and he
No,
can break
absolutely.
one. So
And he could be a long-term fit there. Not that they don't have good options, but they don't have a bona fide number one back that Swift brings. If Williams is your number two guy, you're in a pretty good spot. They had LaShawn McCoy there, and he was nobody. I mean, I don't even know if he held the water bottles there at the end of the season.
I don't think so. I think it's been rough going. So it's, as everyone kind of predicted, this is going to be, you know, a really deep and really talented receiver and offensive line draft. And I think so far I have, if my numbers are right, 1, 2.
I honestly think the 49ers will trade back on one of those first rounds picks because they only have like, I think after this,
Well, they have a big
the
gap
first two, they have like a fifth.
Yeah. So that was going to be my next
the
question.
Thing.
Like,
There's
I have
a big game changer here. Like, there's a lot of the missing out of this offseason pre-draft with what's going on in the world. There's a lot of things that it's just this is draft like no else for that. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun to watch. We're all going to be wrong in a lot of spots.
Oh, so, guaranteed.
But
we're wrong every day.
You know, that's not just us. That's people sitting on TV. I mean, like I say, the Redskins could take quarterback at 2, and then everything's God knows. I mean, do the Lions trade back or they take Young?
Yeah.
So,
or do they stick with Okudah?
The Giants,
right?
Or what if the Giants did draft Herbert at 4? I mean, you know, there's just a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, no, and it's we got 7 wide receivers off the board, 7 offensive linemen off the board, which is crazy. And then we have 4 quarterbacks, 4 linebackers, 4 corners, and then defensive ends. There's only 2 really. You know, you got Young, and you got Gross Matos coming off the edge there. You know, defensive tackles.
Didn't I pick? Maybe not though.
Chase off for LSU.
I had him. Yeah, I had him as linebacker.
Okay, I did. Okay, whatever. Okay.
So,
I get you now.
That was I had him more as a linebacker. Maybe other people have him other ways, but I had him. I guess you could put him on either one. So yeah, I guess he's right there. But it'll be an interesting draft. It's lots of things, but like I said, I think
who's one of your sneaky.
So, I think
who's one of your sneaky second rounders.
I got probably in ours it would be almost AJ Terrell if Terrell falls there. Some people
Diggs too from Bama, that other receiver or cornerback. Sorry,
might be Jalen Reagor out of TCU. I like him a lot too. So
there's a lot of good guys.
Yeah, I think
it's a really good draft.
It's
safety.
Yeah, it's like you go through it, and there's still lots of guys that aren't on our list, right? Like I said, AJ Terrell,
Ohio State's running back, man, Dobbs. I love him.
Yeah, you got Laviska Shenault Jr. or whatever. He's
Winfield Jr.
Bond, the other safety. Like
Bond's still there.
Trayvon Diggs.
Like 10 more first rounders.
Raycon Davis,
we have no tight ends off the board in the first round either. None of us picked tight ends.
And this draft was known for not having any good tight ends. And I think a lot of
got some.
I think it's one of those things too. I think
no
the
draft, guys.
I think the draft you got to look at it, especially the first round, is you got to figure it out by not what the biggest need is, but if you're paying a good tight end $12 million because you took him in the first round, you can't go find another good tight end for $12 million. $12 million is big money for a tight end. So it's just a cost thing. That's why they say the best contract in all of football is a rookie quarterback that can play, because you're getting them at such a discount compared to any of these guys that make 25 to 35 or 40. It's crazy. Who do you guys if you had to bet, who do you see trading back in this draft? Who can you almost guarantee?
Wow, Niners.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think the Niners is a good candidate.
At either or,
I think
right?
the Patriots.
Agreed. I think New England doesn't have any
back.
seconds. They could like to have a second.
But they got a pile of third rounders.
At least 3 for sure, maybe even 4. But I'm just
Well, they
thinking,
get
like,
2 or
let's
3
say
out of the.
like Cody had Love go to New England, right? Let's say they don't like that pick. There's a prime candidate. Somebody likes Love, come up and get him, right?
And you could trade back down to, you know, if it could
I
even
hope
be
they
the
still
Saints,
stay in
right?
the first round, but like we just talked about some of the guys that are going to be falling in the second round. So, whatever.
KC could drop into the second.
Yep.
If they think they can get one of them guys there 5 or 6 picks back,
Let's say Love's still on the board there, you know, there's somebody could trade for that spot. Or like you said, I think Love doesn't get by Green Bay if he's there.
No. I don't know how Love gets out of the first round. There's just no way.
There's just
too many
guys.
A lot of these good quarterbacks are aging. Even Stafford's not young.
No.
Well,
and neither...
I read somewhere today that this is the funny thing. I never even dawned on me that the Green Bay Packers, that Aaron Rodgers is older than when they had Brett Favre and drafted him. So I didn't even realize that, and I was like, wow, really? So there you go. Proof's in the pudding.
And you might see somebody like, you know, the Houston Texans. They obviously don't have a whole lot. They have some second-round picks and stuff. They don't have a whole lot left in the cupboard, but maybe they trade somebody. I know they're talking about trading a guy or two there to get back in the first round. You know, they
got no first or second this year or next.
No, they got 1 second this year because they got him back in
Hopkins trade.
Because they had one, but then they lost. Then they lost one for Cooks. You know, I don't think Pittsburgh, because like the teams that aren't drafting in the first round are Pittsburgh, who traded obviously to the
Colts.
Pittsburgh to the Dolphins.
No, but I'm just saying the Colts aren't drafting in the first round.
Colts aren't because of the Niners. They traded up for Buckner. You got the Houston Texans, who traded away all their picks for people. You get the Chicago
Bears. Don't have one, eh? Yeah,
the Bears don't have one because of the Khalil Mack trade.
Bears got none.
And the Buffalo Bills, who
still a good move.
I still think that's a sick trade, though. Yeah, I agree with you, Cody. You got to do that every day of the week.
Yeah,
2 firsts for Mack. And he's young as hell.
I think if Fangio was still there last year, their defense shows a lot more.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
it's hard, right? And then he goes to the Broncos. And doesn't look good, right? You know, he's whatever, he is 60 some years old.
He could be back.
He might eventually come back, right? And maybe in the next couple of years. But I think if the Broncos don't turn out to be what they want, and he ends up going, like, he'll have 20 teams calling him to fill their defensive, coordinator position. But no, so if you guys had to pick one team, you think it'd be the Niners trading out?
Definitely. Their second pick, anyways.
Or are we just saying out of the first round period?
Well, just trading back, like just trading up.
I think the Niners, like they got no second, third. I don't think they have a fourth either, so why not?
Yeah. I know.
Probably get a second.
I know people have had, obviously the Redskins and Lions and Giants and who wants to move back, but I don't know. I think
I'm the Redskins, man. You got to take Young. The only reason I say that is he's like the best.
I agree.
Player. Like you gotta build around something. And like me and Eric, we've always talked about is the offense and defensive line. You win in the trenches, man. Everything goes to hell on the other team's offense quarterback. You're gonna win games, and that makes up. You got a good D line. It makes up for a bad back end on your defense. Like it gives them more time to cover.
That division's always got quarterbacks and running backs. Always. Yep.
Always.
Barkley's there. Zeke's there. Prescott's a good quarterback. Wentz is a good quarterback when he's on the field.
Yeah.
I like Daniel Jones. I don't know what he's going to do, but I think he's got potential.
Oh, he's got loads of potential, yeah.
So Washington's got to do something to you got to win your division.
And we still don't know what Haskins is. Like, we're not giving up on him yet. He didn't play enough games, so we'll see what he's got too. I don't know if he wins that job though, because I really think they go trade for
who's the guy they got?
Allen from Panthers. He played last year. Was it what's his first name?
Oh yeah, Kyle Allen.
Yeah. Anyways, and he looked good there. They were 5-2 at one point, weren't they?
Yeah. I think the team. I think he's a good game manager. I like Kyle Allen. Like
You
Well,
say
there we
that though.
go.
That was his first year starting though, Eric. We'll see.
Yeah.
If he's, you know what I mean? Does he
I-
make any strides?
He didn't
Trust
lose
me.
him. He didn't-
No, he
but
didn't.
They could get Cam or Winston for a year.
That's the
That's
crazy
right.
thing about this
Yeah.
year is and like I said, that's the weird thing about the quarterbacks is, Cam Newton's out there who say whatever you want about Cam. I think he, you need 6-7 receivers because he's going to try to throw it over top of their head. But he's still an MVP at one point winning quarterback. You have
Stop making them walk. Let them run.
Went to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. He went to the Super Bowl.
went to the Super Bowl, and yeah, they had, like maybe don't run your quarterback with dives and draws and stuff. Like that's probably not a great idea. Running your quarterback constantly into the line, and he has issues, and I think that's if through all this, I think if they had medical staffs that could check him out, I think he'd probably be gone at this point. That's why he's not. I think is because they can't check him out. He's got he looked in pain last year when he was throwing the ball. Like
He
Not a
just
good
looked all
thing.
kinds of wrong.
oh man, like he
Something
looked
was
like he'd
wrong.
throw the ball and it was like you could tell it was physically hurting him. And then Jameis Winston, say what you want about Jameis. 30 club, right? 30 TDs, 30 interceptions. The
You
guy
gotta
also
have
throws
talent
for
though. 30
he also
touchdowns. You gotta have talent to do that.
he also
It's
threw
the
for
NFL.
5,000 yards, and that's also you want to talk about an offense that gives up potential to throw a lot of picks. You have Bruce Arians who's like, look, we want to chuck it down the field, try to make it work. Like, okay, well,
all the time.
as soon as you get down the field, yeah, you get big plays and you get lots of yards, but you also are trying to give up. You're just throwing into less high percentage throws, so you do run the chance of getting picked off. It is what it is, but both those guys are sitting there. Could the Redskins look at Cam? Maybe.
That's his former coach. You know how that works. He likes the guy.
if they get along, right? And he says,
So-
"Look, I was with Cam forever. I know his medical. He says he's good. Let's go with him. Let's give him a 2-year deal at $50 million or whatever you do, right? $25 million a year.
No Tom Brady here. Calm down. Or Drew Brees.
No, but even if you can probably get him for a year and
No,
run the
for
hell out
sure.
of him. Let him run.
Yep. It's there's
And then
lots
say
of
toodaloo. Toodaloo.
there's lots
Yeah.
Hello,
of
Trevor
Don't make
Lawrence.
her-
Hello.
that's one thing like about the Chargers. Like would the Chargers end up taking one? I don't think they take Winston because I just don't think you would. But maybe you take Cam,
Yeah,
right?
Take
Like,
both. Take
Take
them
both.
both.
Screw it.
Put them
The
both in the backfield.
the Vikings, if they can get him at a good deal, maybe they try one of them over Kirk Cousins.
No,
Not
they
with the
wouldn't get
contract he
Cousins the
just signed.
extension. They just gave him an
No.
extension. That ain't happening, Haas.
Yeah, but like $10 million.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
That's the thing about the Bears. It's like, who would you
Like,
rather
my
have? Would you
God.
rather trade a 4th-round pick or 3rd-round pick, whatever they traded for Nick Foles, or would you rather get Cam Newton or Jameis Winston?
There's a team that should have went after Mariota.
There's a team
Bears?
that doesn't know what they want to
Yes.
do. They're like, and he'll always be linked to it, but it's like, you know what? We need to trade up one pick to get Mitch Trubisky because we think the Giants are going to take him. Or we can just
Settle
sit
for
where we are
Mahomes.
and settle for Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. Both those guys are pretty good options.
Yeah.
So do you guys honestly think there's going to be a running back taken in the first round?
I think Swift there's a chance I'll go with the Dolphins.
I think the only teams I can see taking
But
him, I don't think the Dolphins do because I just hope they don't.
I hope they don't, but I just think there's a chance they do.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs might just because maybe they're just weird. I don't know why they. I just
They
don't know
don't
why
need
they would.
to.
No, I think you could throw something on the line, try to get some more offensive line depth to kind of, you can never have too much offensive line depth ever.
No, absolutely not.
Somebody's always coming up for a contract. If you can just grab whoever, that's a good idea.
I think
say
if
what you
either
want.
of those teams grab him, that's a steal.
Well, say what you want, but
So.
maybe the Ravens, right? Yes, they got Mark Ingram.
That would never be a bad pick too, but I think
Mark
they get one
Ingram's
later
not-
on, the Ravens.
Yeah, Mark
I
Ingram's
think they
not
will take a
young.
running back.
Yeah, Mark Ingram's not young.
Yeah,
but
but
if your
Mark
guy's there-
Ingram doesn't have a lot of miles on him. That's
No.
one thing about him. He
No, it's
wasn't
good.
ran hard at Bama. He barely played his first few years in the season because they had Pierre
Hurt.
Thomas running all the time,
Yeah.
and Sproles was there. So
Yeah.
he doesn't. He's a guy that could run a little later in his career too.
Yeah. Just another option, right? Like they just go like
Oh,
high
absolutely.
upside because that's what they
He'd be
they
sick
throw
there.
some. Oh yeah, they got there's some options, but it's I don't know. It's I don't
Pretty fun to
know.
watch.
I think
how good was that two-headed monster for the Saints though? Like, that's never a bad idea, man.
No.
So like they all bring a little bit different, intangibles. They're not the same game. Obviously, one's a power back or more of a power back. The other one's a little more finesse, but he's shifty. I don't know. Like, so
when you
I
run
love it,
70
really.
plays a game, there's like when you're in a high offense like them and they're going all the time, you're running 70 plus plays. There's a lot of ball for everybody.
Exactly.
yeah. No, it's
Exactly.
they're gonna keep on doing it, right? Like it's why it makes sense that you see them take these guys that can fly around out there. So it's that's been fun. I like that. That's a good list of guys. I think we all kind of. I'm sure there's fans for some of the teams that are like, "What are you doing? Like,
You
why
guys
are
are
It's all a
idiots.
matter of
You guys
it's
are
all a matter of
idiots.
opinion.
Yeah.
They're not taking an offensive
Absolutely.
lineman.
yeah,
We do it every year with each other. So
Yeah, we do it every
and
year.
we're all going to
Yeah.
sign off and think about what the other guy said was retarded at moments. But that's the fun of it.
That's why I think at some points we should like almost do like a rankings of who we like and like pre-draft rankings and stuff. And it'd be just cool to be like, I thought he was gonna be really good, and then look back at it, almost put like in a time capsule and look at it in like 5 years and be like, shit, I was
I can't
wrong.
show this to anybody.
What I'm going to do for this draft is I'm going to write out the top 10. I'm going to pick who
I
I
will
think's
too.
going where,
Yeah,
and like no
with
trading.
trades.
With trades, you want to do
gotta
with trades?
You got to. Well, there's
Okay,
gonna
so
be.
we'll do
So
top
if you're not
10.
gonna do it with trades, you
of
want to
who
throw
we
that
think's
out the
going to
window.
go where, and then we'll take pictures and send them to each other, and then we'll see who's the closest. But we can even put it up on our Instagram too.
Let's
see how
do
bad we are or wrong we are.
For the guy that doesn't have Instagram, I don't
Yeah.
have any social media, so someone's
that's
gonna put
all right.
mine up.
He can put his up on our site.
We'll tag Melissa.
I won't do that to her.
Okay.
Yeah, we could even
We
do
probably
like
will, though.
we could even do. You just want to do top 10 because we can
No,
even like
just
make
top
it fair.
10.
Okay, top 10. We can do top 10.
Yeah, top 10. After that's too hard.
Exactly.
Deal.
Because me and Eric, didn't we do this last year, the year before we tried it once, and we were right? We couldn't believe how off we were.
Oh, we were.
I think
terrible.
it was last year, wasn't it? It was last year.
It might have been last year. We did something last year too, which was kind of fun. It was me, you, and
'Cause
Shane.
I think I was home for it.
Yeah, me, you, and
last year.
Shane, and we guessed the pick every pick as they came in. So as they came in, we went, okay, I think whoever's going to take this guy at number 2 overall, and it was like, I don't know, maybe not 2, but it was like, no, wrong. Well, I think they're going to take this guy at this spot. No, we're wrong. Like we were wrong, like left, right, and center. So it's funny because all it
You're not
takes
supposed
is
to admit that stuff, Eric.
all it takes is one guy to like be wrong, and then you're just totally screwed.
I'm also going to throw one more thing out there. So Dallas, I seen a draft the other day where they had Dallas taking Jefferson.
Yeah.
And the reason they made the case that, everybody else is getting so many options. Like I think last year they shut Cooper down and they couldn't get enough. Zeke was doing his thing, but they didn't have enough after that. So I thought that was kind of.
I don't mind that.
Maybe Dallas would go do that.
Yep.
Neither would I. But they do have holes on defense, but they can find free agents. Jerry Jones is like.
No,
so
I don't mind that pick either.
Their big guy for how many years is Cole Beasley out of the slot?
But it'd be interesting because it's been a while.
He's still good in
They've
Buffalo.
had 2 really good receivers. That's all I'm saying.
I like that.
So.
Also, I just want to add, I think because you guys get one more pick than I did. With the Bengals in the first pick of the second round, that's somewhere where I could see the right tackle out of Georgia coming out. Wilson, I could see him
That'd be a
going
great
there.
pick.
I know last year the Bengals took a tackle, with their first round pick, and I'm pretty sure he was like injured the entire season. So it's
But
one of
whoever
those
the
things.
Bengals do take, it needs to be somebody on the second round. It needs to be somebody on the field.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They need to be able to
Be a
play
starter.
right away.
They took last year. They took Jonah Williams out of Alabama, who's projected to be like a really good left tackle.
I think he was hurt all year, Eric. I think you're right on the money.
Yeah, he was, but he was a really good college lineman.
Yeah,
really good.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, they took him. Let's see here. I'm trying to see where they took. what pick I think they're picking. I think in typical Bengals fashion, they were number 11. So they took him. They took Jonah Williams at number 11. They had a tight end that I never heard of, Drew Sample, apparently in the second. Never heard of that guy a day in my life. Good second.
One and only time you ever will.
And they took they got a couple guys, but they picked up a guard at Ohio State last year in the 4th round. So, I said throw another tackle there. Just try to keep Burrows up. That's all it is, right? Just build through the lines. So, but yeah, I think we're gonna end that there. And
yeah, I think so.
Thank you, everybody. We've kind of once again ran long like we always do. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you haven't yet, go like our Facebook and our Instagram. Trying to post stuff there.
Ideas, what you liked, what you didn't like.
Yeah. Let's hear it, right? So
we are eventually going to get on back to hockey. We might talk some baseball later on and some basketball and stuff.
It's just
we're not just all about football. It's just because right now, like we said this week, we're going into draft. We're hyped up.
It's a hot topic.
Exactly.
Well, it's the only topic, right? Like, what do you talk about hockey? Like, we can review the season.
Prospects.
I got lots of
things
ideas, boys.
Yeah, but we got prospects and stuff, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, what do you really talk about? Like, the draft at this point could be in September. Like nobody knows.
Potential free agents, like we have been a little bit, which I've enjoyed.
So we can talk about
the franchises where they're at, like we did with Montreal and Boston, which I think we're going to continue on air.
Yeah,
they've been fun lessons. Try to do more for me, anyways.
And that's the thing, right?
I say a little on the hockey.
We love.
I like it.
We love hockey. Like we're Canadians. What do you want from us? We love hockey.
And we have different ideas, me and Eric, which is awesome.
Yeah, we
think differently that way. So in all sports, really. But anyways,
just different fans, right? Like I'm a Colorado Avalanche fan. You're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. With football, you're 67. A Patriots fan.
Jesus Christ, boys!
Oh,
son of a. Surprising I've got any hair.
2001. That's the crazy thing right now is we're coming up on 20 years since the Avalanche won.
That's mind-boggling if you think about it.
Yeah, it does not feel that long.
I don't really care, Rick. Preach to the prior. I went to 67, okay? Like, come on. Share the love.
I know, but it's like when I first started watching hockey when I was a kid, I was like, this stupid Leafs haven't won in 25 or 30 years or whatever it was. And now it's like, shit, we're getting
like, I'm waiting for Gary Bettman to go, Austin Matthews, come. Oh, sorry, John Tavares. John Tavares, come get the Stanley Cup.
Well,
in his whiny little voice, which I love.
2067.
Do you think
you guys are going to want to hear this? We got a trade to announce.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite things.
Well, that's the same. It's almost gonna be weird. Hopefully, like Roger Goodell pumps in some booing sounds behind him for like the picks, or as he's walking up.
Booed,
I think he should just have it in the background, just like press play and be like 1 second. Boo. Okay, there we go. Everything feels like it's real now. But yeah, like I said, we will obviously talk other sports. Football, obviously, we're just like coming up to the draft. It kind of gets
4 days. 4 days away.
3 days away. It's Thursday.
This
Thursday, is Monday,
right.
And we'll release this either tonight or tomorrow. But so yeah, it's only a couple days away. It's exciting, and once that's done, we'll still have some reviews and what we thought the winners and losers of the draft are, probably something like that.
We'll definitely do a segment afterwards. Maybe we'll invite Cody too, since we did this just with him as well. So
it's like I said,
ideas.
We're just waiting for the world to get back to whatever will be the new normal. We're not sure what the new normal will be.
We'll be ways away yet.
Obviously, we picked an amazing time to start a sports podcast when there's no sports being played. That's just our luck. So. Like I said, if you haven't yet, check us out on everything: Facebook, Instagram, listen to us Spotify, go to subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on there too. So, we did a little bit of from all the episodes. If you haven't heard the episodes before this, on Instagram, on IGTV, and on YouTube, we released a bunch of just our segments that we kind of did for each individual player. So, yeah, for Eric and Trevor, and for this time Cody, we're all signing off. Have a good one, guys.